Hello, this is Mexican Iron Man. Hello, I am back, people. Let us do this show. I am back on the rabbit chicken farm.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. As John Campea would say, welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm Tom Connors. That's right. Mexican Iron Man is back. He's home. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome home.
It is so good to be back. As some would say, hello, hola, bienvenidos to myself. It has been far too long. I think I only made one MEAD show in the last 6 weeks, when I was on the road.
Yeah, you did pop in here and there, so we're not going to say you totally have been gone. But no, it's nice to have you officially back home, and you finally got to open your Christmas present. For those who haven't seen it yet, go check out Mike's video on that. But yeah, so welcome back, Mike. Did you know there's nothing going on today? News has been so dead.
Dead day.
Okay, well, here's going to be, so everybody in chat, I'm not looking at the chat at all like I normally hi everybody and at everybody and all that stuff, because I got home and then I opened the present, I posted the videos, and then I made Bambino a sandwich with my new R2D2 toaster. I made me a sandwich, ran upstairs, and I literally logged on, and I told Tom, I said, look, I don't know anything about the James Gunn. I haven't seen a single video on YouTube. I haven't seen the announcement. I got an email that Script posted analysis. I didn't get a chance to go to Script Doctor's Patreon. So I am coming in cold. But I heard there's a DC announcement. My little rabbit chicken tail is wagging. I'm like, I just got my present. I'm super excited to learn about what's happening at DC.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. So Mike has no idea. He has not seen any of the announcements.
Nope.
I'm assuming just about everybody else here on the panel has seen this, though. So we're going to keep it to ourselves. Six is with us tonight. How you doing, Six?
I'm good. I'm not in the show notes, but I'm here on the panel, and good to be here.
You're not in the show notes?
Oh. No.
I didn't get you in the show notes. I wasn't sure if you were showing, probably. That's why.
Well, Culture's here. Mikey's here twice as much as Culture is, and Culture's in the show.
Culture's in every show note for every Midnight's Edge.
I copied and pasted something.
Culture's in every show note for every Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. Even though somehow he always knows. Six, right? Like statistically, if I'm not here, the odds of Culture being here is what, like 100%.
Pretty close, yeah.
100, 102. You're not wrong. Okay, I'll fix this now. Don't worry, Six.
Yeah, and I haven't seen a whole lot. I popped into I think it was Culture's live stream today, and I heard Tom shitting on what I anticipate is going to be my favorite part. So I kind of
don't spoil it yet, but you'll have to
no,
tell
I
us
won't.
what that
I
is
won't.
when you get to it.
So I'm not 100% sure of what all is coming out.
Now, do I have everybody who is on the stream in here? I got Nick, I got you,
I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't care.
Oh, you are too. Knock it off.
No.
Oh my, come on! You are a YouTuber. I watched your video earlier on your unboxing. It was like a professional unboxing with the cutting and all.
That's right.
No, that doesn't make me a YouTuber. That just makes me.
It makes you more of a YouTuber than you realize, my friend.
You didn't even have your cutting gloves on.
No, I was so excited.
You were vicious.
I was scared.
I was like, because I got a ton of boxes in mail. Like I literally have like boxes everywhere. But I instantly knew. I'm like, okay, that one's from Tom. And like it was the first one I picked, and it was it. And that was it. I knew it. I could just tell. I felt the.
Well, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And also joining us today, somebody I talked to earlier. If you happen to catch our video on the main channel, Script Doctor from the Great White North. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, it's been doing well. It's been a very busy day.
I bet.
Yes, we commented earlier on the slate. I also wrote a lengthy Patreon article for it as well. So if you're not a member, feel free to sign up and check that out. It'll be worth your read. And then had a great writing session and catching up with some writing friends of mine.
Awesome sauce. Then we also have here, speaking of sauce, all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser are here.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, Tom? Nice to see you. Thank you for having me as always. Hail to our chat and our excellent mods. Thank you all for being here right away early. Obviously, As we said, there's nothing major tonight to talk about. This is just gonna be a very standard passing the time type of show for the next few hours. So D Bud, gotta swim. Hopefully, I wish you the best of luck in getting through this show, throwing those wrenches while we all have our awkward
This is
pauses.
going to be an interesting
It's
show,
the end of January. Yeah. And also, welcome back, Mike. Loved the video earlier. Me and my girlfriend watched it. We were totally blown away by the toaster. And of course, hello to my usual suspects and friends, Klobby, Script, and Six. Let's go.
Speaking of Klobby, hello, good sir. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me on. Always honored to be here. Always great to be here. And my wonderful friends on this panel and that amazing chat up there. Hello, chat. Clobber on, everybody. This is going to be, like I said, if we find something to talk about, this will be a fun show.
Yeah, there was just some news to discuss, right?
Yeah.
Just only.
I'm getting the feeling you guys know something, and it's not exactly what I'm expecting. I'm getting a weird, I'm getting a really, okay, I know all you guys, everybody here super well. Guys and gal, you guys are starting, like my blood pressure is starting to rise a little bit, and it's not from like happy excitement. I'm starting to get like a little worried here, people.
Well, let's just say this much. I was expecting a few things. I was not expecting this extensive of an announcement. But before we get into any of that, I do want to say, because tonight, after this show, linked to this show, Nick Weiser has a special, and I am responsible for it, so I have to take full blame for this Toxic Tuesday's pick. As a joke, in the Toxic Tuesday chat, we were trying to figure out what movie to do next because I can't remember what it was, but it was something that was appearing to be an issue for everybody getting their hands on to watch. I can't remember what it was.
We ended up settling with it anyway because Mark found us that internet copy of True Lies, so we ended up doing True Lies anyway.
Okay,
but
well,
we were
that's what it
deciding
was.
on other things
so
as a holdover.
However it worked out, I had, as a joke, brought up Waterworld. And everybody's like, what? No, yeah. And I even had a little meme to go with it. And then Nick chimes in, I kind of like Waterworld. I'm like, yeah, I was only half kidding. So next thing you know, we're doing Waterworld, because then I had to open my big mouth and go, has everybody seen the Ulysses cut? And they're like, with the what? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a cut of the movie that's like 45 minutes longer than the one that we all know. So long story short, we'll get to that tonight.
Oh yes, it's gonna be fun. I'm really looking forward to talking about it. I think it's gonna award really good conversation. And like you said earlier before, I think it's probably gonna be the most divisive one that we've done yet. And I think that's gonna make for great, even better conversation than we normally do.
The only thing I remember about Waterworld is him drinking his own urine.
That's what everybody remembers about the movie.
See, you want to know my first memory of Waterworld is even because of the movie Waterworld. It's because of the movie The Cable Guy. Spoiler alert for later tonight.
Cable Guy.
Well, I'll explain for context later, but you'll have to watch it.
Did you see the trailer for Cable Guy on Waterworld or what? No, like because that came out like a year later, or was it on the video?
No, I had the clip saved. You what's like?
All right, I can't wait to hear the context for this. Because, I don't know how the rest of the panel feels about Waterworld, but yeah, it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, and we'll see how it goes tonight. But Dario says, I liked Waterworld too, the postman. Well, here's what's funny about Waterworld, and here's the one thing I will say about it right now, and then we'll move on from there, because I know Mike's going like, what the fuck is going on? People won't tell me anything.
And I'm not looking at the chat at all.
I know,
comments.
So you're like just sitting there biting your nails, just waiting and waiting and waiting. People say, oh, Waterworld killed Kevin Costner's career. No. The Postman did. People don't forget, the Waterworld movie didn't actually lose money so much as it just didn't make enough to be profitable. Postman killed his fucking career like you wouldn't believe. Right after he did Wyatt Earp, which was a flop as well. So, or not a flop, but didn't get received very well. So, yeah, for those who want to, we'll get into that debate tonight, I think, a little bit. Nick, that's kind of what we were getting at with the whole controversy about this movie, because it's, the thing about it is, I feel like it's much more controversial in people's minds and history of it, because it became such a punchline over the years. But people forget that when it came out, that it wasn't really this flop. that everybody says it was either. So
No, it's yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, we're definitely gonna shut down a few weird narratives, but we're also gonna embrace the good and the history of it. So yeah, this movie is a story in itself. It's kind of like Warner Bros.' saga of DC. This everything around the movies itself is another great movie that I wish. Well, we got a movie of because it's seriously it's one of those stories. So yeah, we'll save it and get to it. I got shut up now because Mike's back here
he's
with us and
chomping
he's
at the bit.
I'm sure he's probably eating his microphone right now, literally chomping at the bit.
I'm literally like chewing on ice while I muted.
All right, 16-bit mascot says, "Hail, Tom, Mike, 6, script, Nick, clobbering, and cheers to the chat." Well, thank you, 16-bit. And then we've got Professor Gray, who says, Gunn said storytelling was first priority. Do we have hopes? Do we dare? Well, I think that gets perfectly into this segment. And for those who don't know, I have been spending the last couple hours trying to figure this whole fucking thing out script. You know, I don't know, we talked earlier, we didn't know half of this, but I'm about to tell you guys right now. You might know it now yourself. But last night, there was a press conference. And Peter Safran and James Gunn spoke, and that's where all these other stories are coming out now, because I've been trying to track down, where is this quote from Safran coming from? So, as you've seen in the title, the DC announcement is a mixed bag of mixed signals. So let's see what that announcement was. So let's start with the actual official video announcement, and then we'll get into the other crud that I have no idea how to explain in any other way, really. But yeah, so here we go, Mikey. We're gonna get your reaction. This is it. Are you ready?
Let's roll the tape.
We're rolling the tape. I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit, just so we're not sitting here for 10 years. Here we go.
Hey, everybody. I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam.
Okay, so far so good.
Okay, so yeah, I want to just stop there because I don't want to play the whole thing.
I like what I'm hearing. Good
Or
job.
do an EFAP.
I think his hair looks really weird for being all white and still having the haircut of like a 14-year-old, but let's keep going.
What were you saying, 6?
What does that mean, Elseworld? Is that like the EU for Star Wars?
Like another alternate reality type thing, basically. Just in other words, not in the main canon type or main lore, an alternate universe type stuff.
So they're going to be putting out main canon and Elseworld.
Well, that's what the term means in comics. He's using it now for an excuse to not have any kind of linear canon for the whole messy DCU.
Like the pocket universes that Walter Hamada was doing.
Let's save this specific conversation for when we get to some of the other stuff, because this is where the mixed signal of mixed bags comes from.
Okay.
Mikey and the others, you got to really carefully listen to how he's presenting this. And then when we get to these other stories, everything is not going to make any more fucking sense than it does now. So, especially going off of everything we've heard in the last few months. So let's let most of this play out. I'm going to pause here and there just to get Mikey's reactions. And Mikey, I'm not going to answer any of your fucking questions right now, okay?
Okay.
I love you, brother, but I want your genuine reactions, and then I want to get everybody's opinions on this, because this is something that I feel like
I'm a DC guy. Let's roll it.
I want to hear your take.
Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. And then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So,
Great.
Okay, so we just basically got a recap of all the things that are coming out that we already knew that were done and in the can. So yeah, that's what that was about, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first reaction is No shit, and that's really weird the way he said that, because he just should have. Well, okay, whatever. Let's go. Okay. I'm still
All right.
optimistic. Let's roll it. I'm here. I'm still here. I'm
Peter
with you.
and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming.
Good job.
First chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
What?
The next project up is Waller. Man. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU.
Okay,
this is called Superman.
All right, okay, hold on.
Yeah, because there's terminology here that has been tripping up people a lot, and we'll get more into that when we get into the other stories.
Okay, go.
But okay, so what's your reaction so far to these? Because these are projects that we already knew about to a point, but yeah.
I'm holding back vomit. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit better than I thought.
World, and I can't wait for people to see.
Okay, so here we go.
Next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay,
Stop!
The next thing is a big premiere HBO television series.
Stop! Go back! Go back! Go back! Go back! Go back! Stop right fucking there! What is happening to my Superman right there? What? Who drew this? What?
That's Frank Quitely that's just a cover of All-Star Superman #1. That's all.
What the fuck is that? Did I buy that copy?
I don't know. It's a great comic, but it has nothing to do with what he's talking about.
I don't like. What does that have to? What?
That's just a random.
Is this the part? Wait, is Superman gonna explore his inner emotions?
Well, slow down. We know more about that in another part of this. This is just one of the worst breakdowns I've seen in a while. But okay, so just him saying though that this is the true beginning of the DCU. This is what makes
I'm gonna shut up.
No sense to me, but okay.
Next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next.
Okay, so we're getting Green Lanterns. There you go.
But you can't even call them Green Lantern. We're going to have to be pretentious and call them Lanterns. Ugh, shut up.
Why can't we call them Green Lanterns?
I don't know.
Exactly, because they're pretentious jerks.
Maybe they're going to have orange and red lanterns involved as well.
They're going to have all the lanterns like the
diversity.
Spectrum.
Hey, I love everything Uncle Ethan did. I am a huge fan.
I like that, yeah.
I am a huge fan of all that shit, but let's just say that Hal Jordan is my number. Jordan is my #1 Lantern, and John Stewart is at best third on the list.
Why not just call it Green Lantern Corps?
Yeah, why not? Let's do that. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I would not be surprised if some of these titles are just working titles, too.
Yeah.
A terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise.
Sorry. This drives me crazy.
Okay, Clobby, help me here, because I remember when these books came out.
Yeah. They're not superheroes. They're
No.
superpowered beings with costumes and powers. They're dictators. They're thugs. They're not nice
like they're
people.
more Wrath of Connie. They're more like right. I mean, from what I remember,
They're what Zack Snyder was doing already.
Right, exactly. They're basically someone said, "Hey, that show, The Boys, is really popular. We got anything like that around here?" And Gunn, who knows comics, said, "Oh, The Authority, that Warren Ellis book, it started from Stormwatch, but then it became The Authority. Let's let's do that because we have the Batman Superman ciphers are a couple, so we've got our diversity there going. So yeah, this is a dumb idea. No one's going to give a flying crap about the Authority.
Dude, I barely remember these books. And
Funnily enough, I think this is the one that James Gunn's going to direct.
Oh, probably.
It probably will be. Yeah.
It's but he called them marvelous characters. No, but yeah, he's saying marvelous.
I think he'll give his twist on them. This is why, but we'll see.
At superheroes, we're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of...
Is that Mikey laughing? No, that's Nick.
Son of a bitch! I get fucking regular story, get some regular fucking books I was sitting around.
I wasn't expecting
the introduction of DCU's Batman.
Okay, it's better, Mike. Get back
Brave
here.
and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne.
Get back here. It gets better. It gets better. Here we go.
DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Now,
okay.
Trash.
Yeah, this book is these. I didn't like any of these.
I hate Damian.
Clobby, I didn't.
Yeah,
Damian,
he is the hated,
you know,
most hated
Damian
Robin.
for me in the DC world of fucking Robins, because I don't like Robins in general, but I do like Green Lantern. To me, he's like I like this guy about as much as I like Kyle as a Green Lantern.
Thank you.
As a Lantern, right?
I'm with you, buddy. Damian's trash. I hate him.
He was written to be killed, and they killed him, and then DC editorial brought him back because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Because it sells books.
Well, I'll be fair. There are people who like what Peter Tomasi did with him with the Super Sons, and that's all fine and good. I respect that because he's a good writer, and a lot of people liked it. But as far as him being with Batman and on a series instead of, you know, Dick Grayson or at least Timmy Drake or something, it's just so no.
Yeah, the animated movies with Damian Wayne did not do well.
No, it did not.
James is getting fed some false information about this choice.
Let's pull the rest of this Band-Aid off. Let's get through.
Of sort of the Bat family in the DC.
Oh yeah.
Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents. Whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure.
Puke boy.
All right, let's start with Mike and then go down the row. Your first reactions to the announcements.
Mikey?
Hold on, I'm getting it together.
Oh, he's building up. He's getting that engine revving. Guys, get ready to clip this.
This does not sound good.
Get ready.
Clobby, you and I have known each other for a damn long time, longer than almost anybody. You and I have known each other on fucking YouTube.
Yes, sir.
And what we have in common is what? DC Comics. It's what you, me, and Mark had in common, right? And I would not be on YouTube if it was not for our good friend Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Steven.
Great Mark C.
Mark C.
Yes, sir. Yeah, buddy.
Is it not fair to say that, and I'm just going to use the greater we, those of us that are DC people have been comics people, have been patiently watching all this Marvel Cinematic Universe unfold for 2 fucking decades. And all we wanted, all we asked for is for one fucking time, can we get the glory and the best of the best that has ever been in DC Comics on the damn ass silver screen? Just consistently, prophetically, well executed, and done with some integrity. Why, Clobby? What is this? What is that? What? I gotta watch it, Amanda. Oh my God! So help me God, if he ties all this shit together, and I gotta watch it. I already know what's in the books. We as DC fans know what the great story is. Why is he picking obscure shit? If you know what he is, you know what you are, James Gunn? You're afraid to fucking fail. And you know what? You have no balls, because you know, if you're a fan, you know what greatness is. You know what I see? I'm not going to get the Trinity. I'm not going to get Superman. I'm not going to get the great story that this American culture needs from our superheroes. No, I'm going to get whimsical. I'm going to get comical, and not in comic book sense. I'm going to get comical, whimsical bullshit. And I'm going to get obscurity, because that's what you picked. You know what? My spidey sense is tingling. I got a cold blue. I got DC Comics like rushed into the fucking like ER of DC. And you know what I see? The same shit I've seen over and over and over and over from Warner Brothers, which is an overall mismanagement of the greatest heroes of our entire American culture. F you, James Gunn. F DC. F Warner Brothers. Fuck this shit.
I'm so glad there's nothing going on.
He does this on my first day back. This is. Thank God I got the R2D. Thank God I got the R2D2. You know what? After this show, I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm making me another tuna melt with my new R2D2. I'm not kidding.
Well, we're gonna get into more stuff because there's more to this. As I said, the night before this announcement was even made public, there was a press conference. And I've been piecing together what I can from it. I wish I could find the actual press conference itself, but it doesn't seem like anybody's posted it properly. But 6, as somebody is kind of, I've never known you to be the hugest Batman or Superman fan in the world, but what's your take so far on the James Gunn announcements?
Well, I'm a big Michael Keaton Batman fan, so that tells you how long it's been since I've really been a Batman fan. And I did enjoy the Robert Pattinson Batman, but I saw the movie once. I'm not going to buy any of the action figures. I'm not going to, buy a Batman calendar and hang it on my wall. But while James was talking and Mikey was hopefully not having a heart attack, I found a quote from James Gunn that I believe is from the press conference last night. And it talks about, oh, wait, we haven't gotten to that part yet. I have to hold on to that.
No,
I can't say anything yet.
You can bring it up now.
It's about,
we'll get to it.
It's about the Flash.
Yeah, it's mixed signals, but yeah, go ahead.
He said, I also think, this is James Gunn, I also think it's important to point out that thousands of people worked on The Flash, and these people dedicated the past few years of their lives to making something really special. And then he lists off a bunch of people. To start making it as if a movie is one person and depends on this one person is something that can be frustrating as a filmmaker, especially as a director who knows that oftentimes actors spend 3 months on a set and a director spends 2 years of his life creating this movie. I have been, for about a year now, 100% against seeing The Flash. But after this quote, I guess I kind of have a broader perspective now. And I'm actually considering seeing it now because a lot of people did work on the movie. And if Michael Keaton is going to be in it, I'm starting to, I guess I'm flip-flopping.
I haven't even seen that quote. I don't even know where you pulled that from. See, that's what I'm saying is these are coming from all over the place. I wish we had this press conference. I'm hoping between now and tomorrow, somebody posts this press conference so we have it for the morning show because there's quotes coming from all over. They're contradictory as hell. Like,
well, you just have to look for stuff.
I know. I've been looking for it all afternoon. 6.
Well,
That's
I've
what
been
I'm saying.
sitting here for 10 minutes looking. This is.
I know. Now you know my pain. I started during Mr. H's show, and it hasn't stopped. I stopped to eat supper, and that was about it. And like, here we are now, though. But Klobby, what's your reaction thus far until we get to the other stuff that he brought up? So, yeah, it's all kind of like, because he didn't answer the question really. But Klobby, go ahead.
It's so weird to see him now, like Mr. Edgelord Gunn. Now he's such a company. He looks like such a corporate shill type, like just a funky Flashman type there. I don't know. I think it's an odd way to start out. I know when he's got movies coming out that he had nothing to do with. He had to announce those. That's fine. Look, some of that stuff would be okay maybe in later phases. Creature Commandos. Look, that would be cool for an animated thing. There was an animated short already. I have nothing against it. It's a cute idea way back in the minutia somewhere. Authority is an absolutely idiotic idea. That's absolutely. I don't know. Again, I think that's him indulging in the kind of thing he likes. He likes depravity because he seems to be someone who enjoys that sort of thing. And this is going to accord him the luxury of doing the kind of thing he likes to do, the edgy stuff. And I guess someone up there thought, hey, The Boys is popular. The title Legacy, the subtitle Legacy under Superman really gives me pause. I'm like, uh-oh. That implies something. I mean, I don't know. But who is the Waller series for? Or is it a series or is it a movie? I can't forget now.
It's a spin-off of the Suicide Squad.
Right, so it's a series.
It's Peacemaker. It's more of a Peacemaker tie-in.
Team.
And there's another thing. Look, I'm going to get into this shit. This is the thing. Everything is a complete fucking... I have no idea, and that's why I want to see this damn press conference to get a better idea of what's going on, because I'm getting a lot of half quotes. And about the Waller series, basically, they've said that because of the Waller series, they're not doing Peacemaker 2.
Oh, really?
Is the quote that I gathered now.
I thought people who like Peacemaker would rather see that than a stupid Waller. Who would want to see that? If you're a fan of the Peacemaker TV show.
I love the Peacemaker TV show, but I don't want to see no fucking Waller horse.
Because I sat here with Andre and we were trying to figure this out. Okay, we're using because this is when he was asked about the series spinoff of Peacemaker. We're using the same actors. This is a continuation of Peacemaker. I'm working on Superman, so we can't do Peacemaker season 2. We're working on Waller in between.
Oh, so there's no 2 coming out. I thought a 2 had already been done.
That's what it sounds like to me from that quote.
I thought 2 had already been done. So it's not
not done, but it was supposedly greenlit. But it sounds to me from this quote that Amanda Waller's taking over for season 2. And again, this is why I get into the mixed signals thing. I'll get deeper into that.
Season 2.
That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too, Script.
Well, he hasn't disproved that. He just said we're going into production.
I know, and this is why Andre and I were going back and forth with, because it's like the way that is worded, and this is why I want to see the conference script, because the way that is worded in that article, it sounds like Peacemaker season 2 is not happening because he's working on Superman, and he had to do Waller in between the two, so that was the one that got sacrificed. That's the way it comes off in that quote. But if there's more context around it, I don't have it, because we don't have this fucking press conference script. And that's what bothers me more than anything right now, because I'm sick and tired of going off these half quotes, because I've been asking myself all afternoon, where are they coming from? It took me most of the time to figure out that there was a press conference last night, because most of these articles were linking back to other articles from their other previous article, from their other previous article. And it's like, this is not taking me to anything. Finally, I got to an Entertainment Weekly article, which flat out said there was a press conference. I'm like, okay, there, now I have an answer. But now where's the press conference at? Because it's not available anywhere. So anyway, Nick, what's your reaction? Sorry, or who's about
I was just going to say, someone in the chat did say, and Christopher W. said that Bounding in the Comics reports that Safran said that Waller takes place in between season 1 and 2 of Peacemaker. I don't know.
That maybe is what he's meaning to, and that's what I was trying to debate with Andre, and that's what it sounds like Script is trying to say.
Okay.
I suspect that's what's going to be the case. Because Waller's probably already written, it's probably already started production at this point.
Who wants to see that? I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, I like the Amanda Waller character. I'm not a big fan of the current interpretation of her.
Right, but even if this was a good interpretation, I mean, why a series? She's supposed to just be
It'd be
walking
like-
in, be on another, she's not supposed to have her own
It
series.
would
She's
be
not
like
that
a
kind of
West
character.
Wing type of take, I would assume, or
Yeah.
something weird, because like Checkmate would be an interesting show to do.
That would, yeah.
Task Force X would also be interesting. Maybe Waller is like something of like that. I don't know. But no, I know that he finished writing the second season of season 2, not long after Peacemaker finished its debut on HBO Max. And that's been over a year ago, so it's already done. The other part too is that DC needs content for 2024, and that's going to be this Creature Commando, Waller, and probably Peacemaker season 2. And one thing that's kind of interesting about all of those is that Creature Commander is an animated series, which means they've already voiced it. And they've probably got the storyboards, and they probably got most of the episodes already finished in editing, and they're doing the final set of it for next year release.
It looks like it's based on the modern iteration, so I'm not interested in it that much. I mean, I kind of like the old comic, but
like the
weird,
80s
weird
series,
war
right?
tales. Yeah, weird war, Jerry DeMatteis. Yeah. But yeah, this new one, I don't know. But yeah, they did it. They had an animated short of them a while back, not too long ago. One of those DC animated DVDs. So yeah, that's a weird idea, though.
So yeah, Nick, what's your take on these announcements?
Overall, I think it flat out kind of sucks. I'm not even joking either. I think it's honestly a very disappointing announcement. Like, I mean, I seriously, like, it's a good thing I was like, eating a bowl of syrup, because I was straight spat out my milk at the computer screen if I had heard about a Paradise Lost show based off Themyscira.
Right.
Nobody asked for that.
I mean, nobody.
No one.
You tell them.
No one. Seriously, nobody. Like, seriously, even people who obsess about, everything being the MCU. The stands didn't even ask for that. Potential stands didn't ask for that. Why? And then there's this Waller show. I actually like the Amanda Waller character. I do. I'll say it. I especially in the Joel Ostrander run, which I've spoken very highly of from the 80s Suicide Squad run of comics. She's a very great character. She's super ruthless, and she's everything that, someone in the comments stole the words right out of my mouth, that, libertarians fear of government capabilities. But because she's so dangerous, that's what makes her character so intriguing. And, Viola Davis is fine as a character, but not every supporting character needs to have their own series. That's one of the biggest issues with this, is it just opens the door for more characters to have things. And just like at one point we gotta say, hey, there's nothing wrong with the supporting character remaining just that, because it just feels like you get a show, everyone gets a show type of deal. And that just kind of, for me, that just kind of cheapens the value of characters in general. And so that looks awful. I mean, I don't honestly like the sound of the Brave and the Bold, because they did my boy Dick Grayson dirty. Either they skipped over him becoming Nightwing, or it didn't happen. They're going straight to Damian. And I don't like that right off the bat. Where's Grayson? I need Grayson. What the hell did you do with Dick Grayson? Not okay with that. Absolutely not cool whatsoever. And the Creature Commandos, I mean, that maybe that could be okay. Maybe. I mean, I give that gesture. I'm not saying Flash. My mind's not changed on that whatsoever. Everyone works hard on a movie in some capacity. I get that, but no, I got to pick and choose my battles, and my battle is saying fuck that movie. I'm not really wild about The Authority. I mean, I will say though, like, at some of the times, at the comic shops I go to, I do know people who liked it, even though I was never a fan of it myself. So hey, great for them. Maybe they'll have something to enjoy out of it. I mean, Swamp Thing, I could take it or leave it. I mean, it's based off a Grant Morrison run, and I don't know if Grant Morrison's the best point of reference to go to as far as
No.
Swamp Thing is concerned.
Hell no.
And then there's fucking Supergirl with Tom King. All right, I gotta turn away from I gotta spin my chair. What the fuck? Tom King.
The worst.
Really? Tom King, the guy who said, "Hey, I'm gonna marry Batman." Oh wait, no, I'm not gonna do it. Even though I just went on late night television, told comic shops to go nuts ordering comic books, get your wedding cakes. Oh, we're gonna do wedding invites too. We're gonna make a big event around it. Oh wait, guys, it's not gonna happen, dude. That book, that Batman book, for years, even during the Screw 52, even into Rebirth, like all the way there and back. Batman was a consistent seller, even for people who weren't as much reading DC. A lot of people held on to Batman. It was still in the 6 digits, always was. Even during those early Tom King days, it was. That's a fact. Whether you like it or not, whole other conversation for another day. But as soon as that shit happened, that was Batman's One More Day. For those who are not, that's a comic book reference to when bullshit got undone with Spider-Man and Marvel. It was Batman's One More Day. He went from 6 digits to boom, 5 digits. And they would sell anywhere between 100K to 170 or 80K. And then this dropped down to 50K in half, if not more so. He destroyed that run of Batman. And that's when he started taking every character that he's writing and making them become him. This is the embodiment of failing upwards. Tom King fucked Batman up. He fucked up Mr. Miracle. He fucked up Adam Strange. And now he gets to take Supergirl on the grand stage and do it all over again in cinematic fashion. And here I thought we would never see him again after that New Gods project got canceled. Fuck! Now that all said, on an optimistic note, Booster Gold could be good. Maybe Lanterns. And that's about it.
Yep.
Well, Script Doctor, you and I gave our initial reaction earlier on the video, so I'd say check that out for a longer, more in-depth discussion on it. But anything changed since earlier that since we've talked earlier that you've discovered, brought up, thought about, felt differently? Anything changed at all?
Well, I do suspect that Creature Commandos and Waller are going to be a denouement of the old DC Films regime, along with Peacemaker Season 2. By the time they're finished production and released, it'll be most likely 2024. They have nothing on the slate to debut for 2024 because James Gunn said the first official start of this new thing will be Superman Legacy in 2025. Those shows were already in production. We already heard rumors of a Waller show. We already heard rumors of a secret project. Those two qualify. They were already in the works before James Gunn became head of DCU with Peter Safran. So I'm not really concerned about that. I think those are just the last vestiges of the old regime to be made away with. I have no reservations about Superman Legacy. I've read the comments about it. It's focusing on Superman, who is kindness embodiment in a world that doesn't think kindness is important. I mean, that's echoing this type of approach that Richard Donner and Tom Mankiewicz had in the original Superman film. So I'm not concerned about that. The red flags that I have are the Brave and the Bold Batman take, because Damian was a terrible Robin, terrible character. And the Tom King Supergirl, because that's also not what you do. Supergirl is a very fish out of water story. You can have fun with that and not have it be an edgy, hardcore, jaded character. It just doesn't fit into the zeitgeist of things. I only have one reservation with Lanterns, and that is they use the True Detective parallel. True Detective is terrible. I don't think it's a good idea to use as a comp for a show. But I like the fact that you've got a buddy cop mystery. I think if they pitched it as Lethal Weapon Green Lantern, that would get more people of interest because Lethal Weapon is a far more reliable franchise. It's also directed by Dick Donner, who kind of started the superhero thing, the father of superhero films. I'm down for Booster Gold. I think it's cool because that could lead to a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle crossover with Ted Kord in the future if successful. The Authority seems to me like a reconciliation to keep the Snyder fans because they will love the Authority.
Yeah.
Everything about the Authority is exactly what the Snyder fans wanted for Batman, Superman, and the Justice League. So that's like a have their cake and eat it too. But I would not be surprised that the Authority is a one and done.
Yeah.
It just feels that way, especially when it's so early. Yeah.
It's a movie or is it a series?
It's a movie.
Okay. That's Gunn all over.
Yeah. Paradise Lost seems like it could be interesting. It might be something that was pitched by or suggested or implied by David Zaslav after the success of House of the Dragon. I suspect that's probably what it is because it is a miniseries. And Swamp Thing shows promise. So as long as they, I mean, again, this is like a 7 out of 10 with regards to potential. And I like the fact that James Gunn is kind of underplaying it a little bit because he doesn't, if he builds it up too much, he can only fail. But if he underplays it just enough and knocks it out of the park, he's got a better chance of rewarding our patience, so to speak. Again, like I'm not knee jerking on this as other people are because we don't know, but based on the patterns of how productions work, based on the directions of what they're going and trying to hit their quadrants in the audience, I see this as a fairly decent start. The only thing I do is this: the instant I get down to LA, I'm going to make my way into Warner Brothers offices and say, you have to get rid of Tom King now or else you're doomed to fail. And then just make my argument because Tom King is going to do the most damage to this. James Gunn someone has misinformed him with regards to that. He can like that Supergirl Tom King comic all he wants. He needs that other voice to be like, no, you know that this is not going to resonate. No interpretation you do is going to come out in favor of Supergirl unless he does the exact opposite of what that comic book did.
All right. Well, here is more of a breakdown of the press conference. Six found another version of it. So let's go through the basics of this here. It goes through what we already kind of know. And then it gets into the other bits here. Now, after ambitiously promising fans that they would have something to show them by February 1st, Gunn and Safran have unveiled the first part of their slate. It's a combination of big, well-known heroes along with lesser-known characters who may just become big like once obscure heroes of Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy films over at Marvel Studios. The duo shared their plans Monday with reporters in a petite and tidy screening room on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank. One of our strategies is to take our diamond characters, which is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and use them to prop up other characters that people don't know, explained Gunn. Added Safran to build those lesser-known properties into a diamond properties of tomorrow. While plans may yet shift, caution the duo, here's the initial slate of projects for Chapter 1, in order they are planned to appear. Creature Commandos, Waller, Superman Legacy, Lanterns, The Authority, we already said this on the other bit. Nothing new here, but they do add in, and importantly, it will feature a Batman not played by Robert Pattinson. However, there is also the Batman sequel, which was hardly even mentioned in that deal, but they do mention that they do have a release date now for the Batman 2, so for those who are waiting for it, you got your wish. It appears as of right now, the Batman 2 will be released on October 3rd, 2025, and simply titled The Batman Part 2.
I never finished the first fucking one.
That's actually an old release date too. I think that the trades are inserting that information in.
I'm not 100% sure. I tried to verify that too, script. It's fine.
I've heard something from a slightly closer source I can't share that's not the real date.
And again, they don't have this in quotes or anything like that, so I don't know if this was discussed last night or not.
No, I because I pretty sure that when they talked about the Batman 2 prior, they said it was October 2025, and then shortly after they said that date has been delayed.
Yeah, so I wish that's why I wish I had the press conference to know if they actually brought it up or not. Because there's some other publications bringing up the Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman and shit yet too. Yeah, and I don't know if that was specifically brought up by them or not. But anyway,
the only quote they have here is from Safran saying 2025 is going to be a very big year with Superman and Batman within the same year.
Yeah,
something seems off about that.
Yeah, he may even mean the other Batman they were talking about. We don't know. That's without seeing the press conference. And then of course the other ones we already heard about. Then they have the post here.
I have a
to come up with a
script.
Go ahead. Sorry, before we get into
what would
this
you have done differently if this was your video? What would you have done differently?
I wouldn't have done Batman Damian, that's for sure. I wouldn't have done Supergirl. I would have pitched the Green Lanterns as Green Lanterns meets Lethal Weapon in space. Yeah, because my 7 out of 10 is not a rating of quality. It's a rating of, out of the 10 projects, 7 of them sound good and have potential. 3 of them give me pause. That's what I'm referring to.
Of the 7 that have potential, I think they're going to fall flat on 3 or 4 of them.
I think the cartoon show, The Creature Commandos, is most likely the safest one because it's animated, and if it doesn't hit, they can easily, ignore it. Waller, I think, is only going to be a single season, and I think it's not going to be brought back any further. I think it's also a one and done. It's just something that's already been in production and ready to go, and it's to fill out their 2024 slate. Same thing with Peacemaker season 2. Superman Legacy has got potential because what they've written about it from the press conference, the quotes I've read of Safran and James Gunn on it, seems like they're coming at it with the right direction. Swamp Thing, I'm curious about. I like the fact that they haven't released much about it because it tells me that it's something that they're still kicking around. So there's a better likelihood that that's going to be good than bad. Booster Gold, I think, is a good idea. Again, Paradise Lost, the Themyscira story. It's supposed to be a prequel, so it doesn't have Wonder Woman in it. So it's supposed to take place before her existence, is my understanding. And I think it's supposed to just appease to the House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones crowd because they're trying to hit those quadrants there.
Well, also possibly laying the groundwork for a new Wonder Woman in the future.
And it might be laying a groundwork for a Wonder Woman film. Who knows? Again, Authority, I think that's a strategic thing there to appease the Snyder fans. I'm not seeing any problems with anything else aside from the fact that, yeah, the Supergirl and the Brave and the Bold don't look like the most smart things to do. I am all for a Batman film, and also not an origin film, but it looks to me like they're jumping 12 or 13 years into Batman's career and having Superman starting in his earlier parts of career, which is the big mistake that was made with the original Batman v Superman. They're repeating the same mistake, hoping for a different outcome. The only difference is they're including one of the worst Robins ever written for the comic book series. So the other part too to also consider, aside from Superman, Waller, and Creature Commandos, I think all the other productions are not locked in. I think they're subject to change, be rearranged, be rescheduled, be canceled, be reworked. The only thing I think they're really committed to is Superman and the 2 that are already in production.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep going with this then. And then, because this is right up your alley script, we have the announced story group of DC. According to this, Gunn assembled a group of writers consisting of friends and storytellers that he admired. Among them are the Martian scribe Drew Goddard, the Flash writer Christina Hodgson, Moon Knight head writer Jeremy Slater, Watchmen writer Crystal Henry, and famed
she only
comic book
wrote
scribe,
one episode. She's not the writer of the Watchmen.
Tom King.
You gotta get rid of him.
Wow.
Barbaggio.
This is the actual Suicide Squad right
Yeah.
here.
Oh,
Well, Drew Goddard is not bad.
No, he's not.
No, he's
I agree
fine.
with you. But that's like the Suicide Squad. There's always the one odd one out who's cool. The rest are all
Well,
the
Crystal
Suicide
Henry.
Squad.
Crystal Henry is not. She wrote one episode of The Watchmen. She's a new writer. Was a staff writer on The Watchmen. She was not quintessential to its production or anything of that nature. So and the other stuff that she's worked on has actually been quite decent. So I think using Watchmen is only because it's a DC HBO Max thing. So that's actually working against her. Tom King is of course terrible.
Yeah.
Christina Hodson is good because she did Bumblebee. And I think she's trying to make the Flash work. But I mean, that's just stupid. Jeremy Slater, that's different. Not too familiar with him. I don't think that's a good idea. But no, this is not a good. This is not the best of writer rooms. I think Drew Goddard is fine. Crystal Henry might be pretty decent because she's only working on Waller and then she's out. I know that. Yeah, Tom King's got to go.
The only thing this writer's room is missing is an emphasis on fucking dinosaurs. That's what I got to say.
Well, and it's funny because at the end of his video, I mean, he did put an emphasis on, the writing comes first, the directors have a vision, blah, 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 blah. Almost sounded like it was a bit of a crack at Marvel in a way, but yeah, now we got to get back to where I was here. Okay. So before audience gets to see those, we get to see the movies you already talked about a million times over. Gunn and Safran are high on the quartet made under the previous film regime. In the ages of DC films, run by former head Walter Hamada, Gunn calls The Flash, director by Andy Muschietti, probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. You can take that with a grain of salt.
Well, first of all, what advantage does James Gunn or Peter Safran have in saying bad things about 4 of the movies that are coming out?
Exactly.
This is politics, people.
Exactly. He also said the 4 leads of those films could potentially return to the roles in the DCU project. He says there's nothing that prohibits that from happening. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Among those actors
There's
is
nothing
Ezra
that
Miller.
guarantees it either. That's the other part.
And this is where I was getting into. This is where stuff started flying off of the shelves. The troubled star of The Flash has also found themselves in the center of several criminal investigations for complex blah, 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 blah. Safran said to the executives it remained hopeful that Miller is on the path to betterment. Ezra is completely committed to their recovery. We are fully supportive of that journey they are on right now. When the time is right, when they are ready to have that discussion, we will figure out what's the best path forward. But right now, they are completely focused on their recovery. And in our conversation with them in the past couple of months, it feels like they are making enormous progress. Now, this is one of the big quotes that made the rounds already, and this is one I wanted to key in on. Because this is one of the most political answers I've ever heard in my life. It does not answer the fucking question. It doesn't even really, you could even interpret this from this is that they have not even discussed it with Ezra because they're waiting until he's done with recovery to tell him, you're not going to be the Flash anymore, kid. I don't know. It could be that, or it could be to see if he doesn't fuck up some more, which is kind of more along the lines of what Paulie was saying earlier on Mr. H's channel. So I don't know what to believe at this point. What do you guys think about this quote, though? Let's start with Mikey on this. What's your feeling on this?
I'm sick of Ezra Miller. I don't even like the Flash as a fucking character. I could care less. I'm just really dejected. I know that I should be smarter and more cool-headed and more intelligent and more open-minded about all of this, but I had a vision in my mind of what I hoped I would get, and this is not what I'm getting this day. So maybe when I calm down in a day or two, my mind will embrace the possibilities, but I'm sick of this guy. I don't excuse his behavior. I can't stand the Flash in general. So the fact that our next pivot in the DC universe is going to be built upon a fucking character that all he does is run fast, which my people do every single day, is not impressive to me.
Well, and again, this is kind of what I'm saying with the mixed bag of mixed signals in the title. This here, you can read just about anything you want into what he said.
Sounds like Ezra's coming back and we're going to see him in the future if he stays sober, and I don't want to see him again.
No,
or it could mean what I just said. Exactly.
What does that say,
so
what does it
that's
say?
what I'm saying. You can interpret this in any way, shape, or form you want to.
Well, you could, but if you've been in the industry like I have, you look at this and be like,
I was waiting to get to you last
This is your
script,
2-week
but
notice of you're not going to be back. This is your.
I was going to
notice.
get to that, but I was waiting to hear what everybody else had to say first because I was kind of trying to make a point there. But you're right. To me, this is a non-answer answer of we just haven't fucking told him yet, kind of thing.
Shh, don't tell him he's fired. That's what it is.
We don't want him relapsing now before the movie comes out.
Exactly. We've made it this long without a travesty. We're crossing our fingers. We'll make it to the release date and everything will be fine. Then afterwards, we're going to tell him he's fired, and then he's going to relapse, and we'll all be done with him.
Then he's not our problem anymore. Exactly.
Exactly.
But again, you guys, you interpret this any different way? I'd love to hear it right now. 6, Mike? Or Mike already talked about it. 6?
She's probably looking something more for more stuff.
I know she's being so helpful, and she's like lost.
What I'm most excited about, or what I was most excited about, was Supergirl, because blonde white women have been oppressed in movies lately. It's
That's
all about
true.
the brunettes. It's all about the trans. It's all about the gays. It's, you know,
You're
I
assuming
want to
she
see
will be blonde.
myself. I want to see myself represented on screen again.
You're assuming she'll be blonde and white.
And that, well, but
Well.
then I saw that it was Tom King, and I looked up a synopsis of his comic
yeah.
book that supposedly it's based on, and I thought, oh, that's gonna suck.
Well,
So-
here's the other thing Paulie and Nate brought up earlier too when I was on Mr. H's stream was interesting is this a completely new Supergirl, or is this going to be Sasha What's-Her-Face from The Flash?
Sasha Callie?
Yeah.
We don't know.
So that'd answer your question whether or not she's going to be blonde hair.
Yeah, but another thing is, I didn't hear Lobo. Come out
Yeah,
of his
they
mouth
addressed
at
that a little bit, sort of, kind of. We're going to get to that. Maybe even be in this. So hold that thought at least.
Yeah.
And
And then one other thing that I noticed, what does his T-shirt mean? Happy birthday, somebody. Is that supposed to be some kind of clue?
No.
I don't know.
No,
I don't
or we
see
don't know.
anything there.
Yeah, it's
I think
not
there's nothing
recognizing.
there.
I
Yeah,
don't think
I'm
we
not
should look
picking
too much
anything.
into his clothing choices.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
don't think so either.
I
wish we
think that
could.
James Gunn would be the kind of person to leave it, would be the kind of person to leave a clue like that.
No, they still have
Because-
Easter eggs of Guardians that nobody has found yet. So
Well, when he posted that picture of his cat on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, if you zoom in, you could see, this is a few days ago, you could see that he was typing something up about Waller. So we knew something about Waller was going to be announced.
okay.
So
Well, okay, so we're going to jump ahead a little bit here because they also took on the touchy subject of Henry Cavill. So this kills one of my other ancillary stories. We didn't fire Henry. Henry was never cast. What the fuck have we been saying, Script?
Yeah, told you.
For me, it's about who do I want to cast as Superman, and who do filmmakers we have want to cast. And for me, for this story, it isn't Henry. There you go. He goes, I like Henry. I think he's a great guy. I think he's getting dicked around by a lot of people, including the former regime at this company.
Oh,
Confirmed again.
Wow.
Confirmed
But
again.
this Superman is not Henry for a number of reasons. Okay. So that is like some direct fucking fire right there, kids. If I ever heard some at the previous regime.
That's
Holy
your
shit.
kill shot to all the Snyder fans thinking that he fired Henry Cavill.
Exactly. That I think you're right there on that one. Wow. Okay, so that kills that story, so I can get rid of that one.
I just want to let everyone know that I'm a little emotionally fragile right now. So
I'm sorry. Sorry, Mike.
I'm like 3 seconds away from grabbing that tequila bottle that one of my clients sent me.
It's gonna pound tequila all night.
No, all night. Continue on, good sirs.
Yeah, and you're not technically wrong here, Jane. He knew everyone expected for him to continue. And I don't know if he necessarily, though. That's the thing, because that was all decision made and things that were in place before he was even the president. And I'm surprised he didn't add into his little shot across the bow about Henry's former representation.
No, Danny Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
Well, I mean, he technically did when he said he'd been dicked around. That's Danny Garcia and co. In addition
Yeah,
to
but
Warner
he
Brothers.
really threw under the bus of like Walter Hamada and those guys. Let's be real.
No, he's not disputing that either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, moving on from there, let's see. We got executives also tried to walk in the line of if and how to deal with actors who step into controversy, with Shazam's Zachary Levi being the most recent example. Over the weekend, Levi tweeted words against pharmaceutical giant Pfizer, known for its COVID-19 vaccine, which many interpreted as the actor having anti-vaccine views. Actors, filmmakers that I work with are going to say things that I agree with and things that I don't agree with, said Gunn, who in 2018 was temporarily fired by Disney as the director of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 due to old offensive tweets. I can't be changing my plans all the time because an actor says something that I don't agree with. At the same token, if someone is doing something that is normally reprehensible, that's a different story, and we have to take that into account. So, as long as it's good for the goose and the gander and the they-themders, keep that in mind, Mr. Gunn. Just keep that in mind, sir. That's all I'm going to say. Somebody popped in there. Sounds like they want to say something.
Mike? That sounds like Mike.
Nope, it's not me.
Or was it Klobby, I thought?
Oh, no. Sorry. I must have made a noise. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounded like you were going to say something. My bad. All right. So I guess moving on from there. Though Gunn and Safran are working in one DC universe, some stories will stand apart. And this is where shit makes no sense to me. Because Zaslav him fucking self said he wanted one unified universe. We're not going to have multiple Batmen. Why are you even having an Elseworld still? I mean,
to wrap up the Elseworld stuff. That's why.
Again, I think script is more in line with, and I believe that the Superman will start a whole DC new. But at this point, why even muddy the water with the idea that this other crap has anything to do with anything coming, and still have an Elseworlds in general? Because the Batman, technically, if it does come out, as they have said here, will come after Superman.
Yeah, which it means that it's probably not going to come out at all. Batman Elseworlds, or the Elseworlds brand, will probably apply to Teen Titans Go, Joker, and the Penguin series. And
yeah, and
probably
Hollywood
won't be seeing
Reporter,
another one of that. And it also might be a scapegoat to any of the projects that fail in the main continuity that they just put on afterwards.
Excuse world.
Course, Hollywood Reporter had to add in the Ta-Nehisi Coates project, even though that was never mentioned today in the
Oh,
release.
That's not happening.
And it's not even in quotations
Script,
here.
saying,
So
are you saying you think that the second Batman movie won't come out?
I am so confident. I happen to heard from a couple of sources over the last week that Matt Reeves and his writing partner aren't even working on that draft. They're working on another movie right now.
Wow.
Well, and they're basically fast tracking Superman.
Yes, they are. They're fast tracking it so much that, and they're also, I mean, the reason Hollywood fast tracks anything is because they like what they've seen of the pitch. So if Zaslav likes what they've seen of the pitch for Superman Legacy, and Zaslav's the type of guy who hasn't liked or believed that there's been a Superman movie in 13 years or whatever, that might be a very good sign that this project is going in the right direction. The other part too is that, again, the Elseworlds title is to wrap up, like it's wrapping up television series and cartoons. Cartoons are done years ahead of schedule before they're released.
Yes.
So Teen Titans Go has been around for a while. It's popular. It makes money. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but it's a great thing to hold on to and slap it under the Elseworlds title as a reliable source of retention for your fans. Any of the series that are coming out, I think they're going to be Elseworlds. I would not be surprised if the Waller series has an Elseworlds title associated with it when it finally has its first trailer.
All right. Well,
and
moving
with the Penguin,
on.
I don't think you should be surprised.
So, Script, when you go march into Warner Brothers, I'll pick you up at the airport. I'll drive you there myself, and I'll wait outside with bagels and coffee.
Sounds great. We'll do it.
And this may even be in this upcoming report, but I don't think it is. But Six shared this from another report for those who are curious about Gal Gadot's situation from the same press conference, but a different report. Some we don't know yet. We talked to as far as anybody else coming back. Some we don't know. We've talked to Gal Gadot. She's up for stuff. We're not sure we're going to do that with all that. All I can tell you is that really is just that Henry and Ben are not a part of this universe. So there you go. So we have an answer on that. And I'm pretty sure Gal Gadot's out the door too. And that's why I have no faith in Ezra or anybody else coming back, which makes another part of this story even more head scratching, because we'll get to that if it doesn't get mentioned here. So anyway, going on, Safran says the bar is going to be very high for projects to be outside the DCU with Elseworld projects, but every now and then there will be something that lives up to that. Okay, so it's not the Gunverse. It's not, Gunn said. It's got to be all these different feels from all these different stories. That's what makes it so fun. These stories are completely different, and each has the individual expression of the writers and the director that are making those projects.
That's a good thing for him to say, because Snyder's never said it's not the Snyderverse. He's touted it.
Well, and this is also a part of it that I think was kind of a shot at Marvel too. But he added, "We're not stupid. Not every filmmaker is going to be happy, because if someone is doing something that isn't working, we're going to be honest." Gunn and Safran hiring.
I guarantee we'll start hearing that when certain numbers come in of the movies coming out that are not performing well.
And then on the Marvel part, he goes, a lot of people are thinking this is a Marvel 2.0. It's not. Zaslav had a vision in mind of standalone studio that would have everything DC centralized, said Safran. And that was the appeal for us coming in and having access to any character, any story, and to tell the stories we wanted to tell across all the mediums. As Gunn said, the history of DC is pretty messed up, referring to the turmoil and disconnectivity that this roiled and foiled Warner Brothers Pictures plans for the comic book properties over the last dozen or so years. There was a filmmaker, Zack Snyder's multiverse universe that sputtered. His multi-movie, sorry, you're right. Multi-movie universe that sputtered halfway through. There was an attempted course correction by Joss Whedon that maybe made things worse. There were several changes in studio leadership and ownership, and there was the Arrowverse, the successful if niche TV side of the DC that aired for over a decade on the CW. No one was minding the mint, says Gunn. They were giving away IP like they were party favors at any creator who smiled at them. For Gunn, being handed the keys to a comic book universe is like something out of the childhood dream. Growing up in St. Louis, Gunn described himself as a lost, screwed-up kid who didn't feel like he belonged. His father and mother were so concerned that they sent him to a psychiatrist who advised them to take interest in his interests, which happened to be reading, writing, drawing comic books. In one attempt connecting, Gunn's father took him to Creation Comic-Con, a big comic convention in Chicago. It remains the best weekend he's ever had. Time that solidified a magic and connection to the medium and its colorful characters. Gunn wants to bring the magic and connection to the movie-going and TV-watching audience by revamping DC Studios in a way that hasn't been done before. I have an incredibly deep connection to these characters, these stories, and wanting to create that type of magic, not only in the kid that I was, but in the connection that I had with my father, with friends later on, Gunn explained, and wanting to create a unified world in DC where we tell stories. In the end, Gunn and Safran know not only what's at stake, but also the enormous opportunity being presented, blah, 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 fucking blah. Okay, now the next part of this, everybody's probably wondering what the fuck is going on with not Ezra Miller, because we already covered that, pretty much. That was in that one story. So get rid of this one too. Here we go. Okay, Aquaman. What the fuck is going on with Aquaman? But before we get into that, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. We got Nicholas Horton, who's become a new member. We got Randall Orser, who's been a member for 3 months. Who's wait, what was? Oh, that's right. We're on the MEAD. What was Nicholas Horton? Does anybody remember? Okay, a minimum effort puppy. We got it. Thank you, 6. We got a minimum effort puppy here. There we go. Thank you so much, Nicholas. We appreciate that. Then we got Randall Orser, who's been a member for 3 months. Says, I'm not into comics and don't know much, but this announcement just sounded boring as fuck. Well, I can see that perspective, but yeah, it's something, all right. Mecha J says, if there's anyone Gunn should have brought on as one of the chief architects, it's Paul Dini. not Tom King. This is a very bad move on Gunn's part.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness,
I would agree with that.
Absolutely.
All three of us. Nick, do you agree?
Yes.
Look, it's unanimous, and we're all DC guys. That would have been that is an awesome super chat.
All Denny. Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Paul Dini's
You
not
would-
who he's been anymore, but he would definitely be better than Tom King.
Yeah, far better
Oh,
because
God,
he
yeah.
I'm in the same
he at
boat as
least
script, yeah.
he at least writes DC Comics characters, whereas Tom King
Right.
he basically writes a story, then pitches it to DC. And this is literal, by the way, in case you're all wondering. He literally did this for his story. Heroes in Crisis. He already wrote everything, what happens, how it happens, and then he pitched it at DC. Said, what characters can I use and which characters are not available to use. So that is, literally how he writes his story. That's why it is the self-insert. Whereas Paul
Well,
Dini
not only that, Dini
writes the
knows how to
characters.
write half-hour and hour-long formats. Like he knows how to write
Yes.
outside of comics. Tom King can't even write
Right.
a comic book.
Exactly. Good
Yeah,
point.
no,
And comics
Tom
and
King
film
does-
are not the same thing. I know this quite intimately.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure you. I don't doubt that you know that. The thing is, Dini.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dini can obviously do cartoons. Obviously, he's been involved in some comic stuff too.
Yeah.
So I know he's capable in both
Well, just
mediums.
just what he's worked on alone. Considering, even though
Yeah.
like I agree with script that the animation has taken a dive over the past few years, he's a hell of a lot better choice than Tom King.
Dini's a good comic writer too, like you
yeah.
said. So, yeah.
Charlie says Nick in the panel may be underestimating the audience interest in the Game of Thrones style show with supermodel looking Amazons. Look, I didn't really say anything about it, other than I think it's the path to whatever we get out of the new Wonder Woman. Because that's what I'm saying. Being a prequel, that tells me that they're reestablishing her history in some way.
Yeah, and if they're smart and they hire a bunch of actors that have Janet Goldstein's arms from Aliens as Vasquez and Curbs, a lot of guys are going to watch that show because if they look like Amazons and sexy warrior chicks, people will tune
they
in.
will watch
If
it.
they look like Taylor Swift's, like Gal Gadot has, people are not
Right.
going to tune in.
Yeah, I'm not so sure this leads to Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is my point exactly. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
Six, did it seem like it was appealing to you in any way? Like the idea of that? She might be busy looking for something else. Okay. We'll ask her again when she gets back, if not. And then we got Darius here who sends in a super sticker. Thank you so much, Darius, who sends us in a salt shaker. Yeah, a little bit of salt for some people, I'm sure. Jim Watari sends in a very generous $20 super chat. It says, for Mike's Tequila Fun, you can't get very good tequila with $20. Or can you,
Get a
Mike?
good shot of tequila.
We can get a shot of it. You know what?
I was going to say, yeah.
I will be right back in 2 minutes.
He's going to go get a shot right now. Just
Yep. I will be right back.
Salvador Cruz is here and sends in $5 Australian. Says, with most of these announcements, it feels like they're saying fuck off to fans of the older, mostly better stuff.
Yeah,
It depends on where you're coming from to a certain point of view. I get this. To me, this feels like the most safest announcement they could have made, making the least of the factions upset while hoping to entice the largest swath of DC fans there's left to be
it incites
interested in.
curiosity. All of the
Yes.
characters they're bringing about, aside from Batman and Superman, are low tier, low financial rights risks with regards to payouts.
Yeah.
So that can actually build up a brand with them and make them valuable. There's more potential there, and some of them look like they are just like safe tactics to get things started. But once the actual announcements come, I would not be surprised if half of these things, half of the movies and half of the television series announced, end up not making it to production. That something else would come along that's better, that's more.
Oh, they
suited, that
did
can
say
keep-
these things could change. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we only have one confirmed release date, and that's Superman Legacy.
Yep. Which I found weird that was the only one that had such a set in stone. This is coming out, and they kept saying.
Yeah.
And Peter Safran also repeated that this is the beginning of the DCU proper kind of thing.
Yeah. Which
so-
means that anything that comes up before that, including in 2024, we can account for. It's what I call like the flushing. It's the last of the turds circling the drain before 2025 comes.
That word legacy really bothers me for that.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree
mean,
with you, Klobby. Like I said this earlier on Mr. H's stream. I'm like, if you're gonna do this and this is supposed to be the kickoff of your DCU, just call it fucking Superman.
That's
Don't call
it.
it anything else.
That's it.
Nothing else. Technically, be the first movie called Superman. Scripts
right.
brought that up a couple times because the original film is called Superman the movie.
The movie. That's right. Yeah, it'd be the first one, and
So
do that. Yeah.
semantics aside, it's still been that long since we've had a movie with Superman in the title. What, 2006, 7, 6 it was that?
And there's an implication with the word legacy that kind of.
Well, if you're
The-
assuming that he's going to have a kid and all that stuff, I mean, he's
Right.
already confirmed that that's not going to be the case. It's earlier Cub reported career.
I don't
think-
say I believe it. I don't know if I.
And
believe
I don't
it or
know
not.
if script agreed with me or not, but I posited this earlier. I think that has something to do along with the lines of the legacy title will tie in with the Supergirl thing. Because it sounds to me like they're doing a yin and yang thing with Supergirl. And either Superman will show up in the Superman movie, or those two movies will lead to a sequel with those two meeting up. And you're going to have the more, cynical Supergirl going up against the more hopeful Superman.
That would be
'cause-
foolish to do. But I think the legacy has to do with the fact
It could
that,
be.
as pitched by Safran and Gunn in the press conference, is that he's reconciling his Kryptonian heritage with his upbringing as a human. And he's trying to, and he by nature is a kind person in a world that is very unkind. So he is basically, I would say, legacy is the title of Superman building up his legacy of what he's standing for.
Okay, well,
That could be
That's
too.
how I would
I hope
interpret
so.
it based on
We'll
that.
have to wait and see, but
I don't
I
trust
think it
those
might
guys.
also
Out here,
tie.
I trust you. So.
And what you're saying, script may also tie very well, and not very well isn't good, but it may very well tie into the Supergirl aspect of, she
Quite
comes from the
Yeah,
destroyed,
I'm just trying
destructed
to
world and all that
translate
business.
my screenwriter and Hollywood talk into normal terminology for all of it.
Right,
because,
but
again,
what I'm even saying is, like, when they do meet up, it will be like a Supergirl versus Superman movie at first, where she's kind of trying to bring him back down to earth, to where he's trying to be like, no, this is the way I am. You may have grown up like this, but at the same time, they have to resolve the conflicts of, the one not being able, this is being his only real tie to family and home, and her probably having some kind of guilt, whether depending, like you brought up earlier, depending on which version of Supergirl they go with, whether she was meant to raise him or not, and whatnot like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But with Tom King being involved in this whole Supergirl thing, that's one of my red flags right there. That's one of my big red
I gotta
flags.
go kidnap
Big time.
Tom King.
I'm not
Make
necessarily.
sure he doesn't kidnap you. That dude was in the CIA.
He was a
Well-
research assistant in the CIA. All he knows how to do is manipulate popular opinion and culture. He can't do anything physical. The guy's a cuck to his own wife and her boyfriend.
That is true. That
Uh,
is true.
I don't know. I kind of am hopeful for Superman, but we'll have to see. And then we've got Mr. Tickle Trunk, who's been here for 19 months. Thank you so much, Mr. TT. Then we got Goddess of Whim, who's also been here for 21 months. Thank you so much, Goddess of Whim. And then Chris W says, is one reason for this slate because if the possible lack of resources available for Warner Brothers budgets to use to make their movies go cheap to just have content. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, first of all, I don't know if you just mean in general because Hollywood's cutting back on things. But otherwise, I don't believe this whole thing about Warner Brothers being so broke they could only release X amount of movies and shit. I did not.
Yeah,
buy
Warner
that.
Brothers is fine. They
Yeah.
don't use their personal money to finance these movies. They leverage the properties they own to get as collateral for loans to pay for things. They don't have to go into the vault down on the bottom of Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank and withdraw a gold brick and then cash that in so they can pay for these movies. That's not how it works. They have a massive catalog of IPs. They can put those up against what the production needs, and they can make the movie. They'll be perfectly fine.
In all fairness, Chris is probably aware of that too, script, but he may be going off of some of the headlines and other reporting that kind of made people misunderstand because they said, they had to come up with like $3 billion by the end. Like
synergies,
see, nobody understood. Yeah, if you don't look past the headlines, not only that, if Culture Casino or Valiant were here right now, they would tell you that Zaslav successfully not only went over that gap.
In synergies.
It was like
in his first 6
5.
months.
I think it was 5 he ended up managing to do, or something to that effect, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat, if they know, please correct me. But no, it's not. But what they want, though, is they want these movies to be on a budget, and having a lot of these other actors is a problem with that because they cost so much. But these movies need to come in on a certain budget, but they also need to be good enough to be able to float the other projects in the studio. That is something that Zaslav himself said in so many words at the last what was it the
last earnings call, but it's also reasonable
yeah.
responsibility. If Warner Brothers cracks the formula of having a modest budget superhero film that can rake in $500 million to $1 billion, everybody's going to want to do it, and they will be the front runners of that. And Marvel right now can't, because they're spending a minimum of 220 million on their movies, and that's eats into their profit. Zaslav and co have to find a new formula, and I think that's more fiscally responsible, because if they can make a Superman movie for $110 million
or even 100 flat,
or 100 flat, and it pulls in 500-700 million, that is way more profit than anything they've ever had.
And that's the thing, if you can keep them under $100 million, that means all they have to really gross at the end of the day is around 300, right?
Yeah.
If you, and that's where you're saying script, because then once you hit that 500, you're in the fucking black. You're good to go, baby.
You just covered twice the base budget of your film once you hit the 500 if it's a $100 million movie.
And if you have, if you don't have a huge actor and you don't overdo it with the special effects and stuff like that, you can do it. It's possible. And that's going to be interesting to see if that's what they pull off. But okay, so let's jump into this Aquaman business first, and then we've got some more stuff to cover as well, because Six is finding more stuff here, and I had a story that's similar to the one Six just brought up too. But
tequila.
Yeah, tequila. Okay, let's do that.
It looks like R2-D2.
Oh my God, it does. Oh, now I can see it's more flowery, but that's like fancy tequila bottle. Ooh.
It's like out of a vase. You're gonna need it after tonight.
Is that like straight from Mexico, my friend?
Yeah, my client John Rowland from John. If you're watching the show, which I know you sometimes do out in California, this is live on air.
Oh my goodness, this is
a good shot. You can tell this is one of them little thimble wussy shots, right?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. James Gunn, sir, you better give me something worth watching, because if you don't, you're going to hear about it on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the rest of the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 to 10 years.
6 to 10 years. Oh, way to go, Mikey.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. How'd it taste? Smooth, or was it harsh?
Oh my God, it's so yummy, yummy, yum, yum, yum.
I'd imagine being it'd be pretty smooth going on. But yeah. Okay, so Jason Momoa, Aquaman 3 may be moving forward after all. But will Jason Momoa also play Lobo? So yeah, during the Q&A last night, they indicated that they may be developing a third Aquaman film.
Wait, a third Aquaman film or Aquaman 3? Because those things are not the same.
I know, this is the mixed signals of mixed... Okay, here's the quote, I guess. It starts off with, Jason always saw Aquaman as a trilogy. Now, again, this does not mean...
that it was going to be.
Exactly. The Game of Thrones alum...
What site is this from?
Remember
this
when
is coming
Andrew
from
Garfield Spider-Man
comicbookmovie.com.
movies were supposed to be a series of movies, and then we all saw what happened?
Well, yeah, but regardless. Okay, so the Game of Thrones alum has been also expressing his excitement about taking on a new role in the DCU via social media, and there were trade reports that he may also be in line to play Lobo. All Gunn would offer was, I will say we don't have an actor playing 2 different roles. Okay, yeah, we're still very confused. So are we!
Yep.
Why?
No, I think I'm more in line with script here. Aquaman 3 is not happening.
No, there might be a third Aquaman movie, but that doesn't mean it's Aquaman 3.
The way that's stated, though, and this again, why I wish we had the actual fucking press conference, because it's just a hanging fucking sentence here.
I mean, technically, the Superman film would be like the 7th Superman movie. Is it Superman 7? No, it's the 7th Superman movie.
Okay, here's my point with this, and you'll know where I'm coming from, script. This is just a hanging sentence here to an answer to a question that doesn't really say anything more than Jason always saw Aquaman as a trilogy. Good for him. Jason isn't Peter Safran or James fucking Gunn or David Zaslav.
Yeah, he doesn't get to make any decisions here.
And in that respect, that's what he's saying. And the other side of it, you had James answer with, all we're saying is no actor is playing 2 different roles. Again, more fucking cryptic bullshit. But as script points out, that's to me saying that, yeah, at one time Aquaman 3 was a thing, but Probably ain't no more. Like, and again, a lot of this may ride on how much the movie makes at the box office, but I doubt that because I don't see this as any kind of winner. I don't think anybody sees this as any kind of fucking winner. Unless this movie makes over $2 billion at the box office, or at least a 1 point whatever billion that the first one made, there's not going to be an Aquaman 3 in this universe. They're just saying that Jason always thought it was that way, but he's happy with what we're giving him now. James just wasn't ready to announce Lobo, which I thought was fucking stupid, but you know, at the same time, it adds more to the mystique of this whole fucking thing.
They're not going to announce it till after Aquaman.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I can't believe I'm defending him right now, but I think it's fair that he didn't announce everything. I like the idea of not blowing your wad too on top of it. I mean, you still want to you want to wait and see how some of these things turn out. You gotta because you don't want to lay all your eggs out and then all of a sudden you start having some bombs again. And then before you know it, just like, great, we already announced these projects. We already started filming. I mean, just look at what happened back in bring him up again, but the Snyder days. Like, we're going to have Justice League Part 1, Part 2. And then the divisive reaction happened to Batman featuring Superman. And when that came out, they had just started filming right when that movie had come out in theaters for Justice League. Well, supposed to be Justice League 1. And it was just like, oh crap, this is a bad position. We start filming, yet BVS is being absolutely divisive. This is talk about being caught up in a bind right there. And yeah, I think I'm not saying they should announce anything else, but I don't think they should at least go too far down the well. I mean, maybe another year's worth. Maybe we should hear about, but we do gotta see how some of the stuff plays, and they gotta make sure that they really have damn good product that people are gonna want to invest in and prove us wrong. I mean, yeah, okay, so WoW is a miniseries, but we have this Creature Commandos, and we have the Superman movie, which, I mean, to me, if you don't make Superman work, I don't think there's a hope for a DC universe. If you don't make Superman work.
I'm not so worried about Superman. I mean, I think I'm not so worried about Superman as I am fucking Batman. That's my other red flag.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's fair. And remember, Zaslav is an Axeman. If they don't succeed, he's cutting everybody and he's going to start over.
Yeah.
Because I can see where they came to this conclusion, but I don't agree with it. They came to this conclusion because they looked at it probably, and this is me just speculating, they probably looked at it, okay, the Ben Affleck thing, you have the older grizzled Batman. People didn't really take to that with BVS and Beyond and Justice League. It's the Snyderverse is over. End of discussion. We already had that. We've got a young Batman that's still active right now with fucking Robert Pattinson. So what do? We go in the middle. And in this respect, then we can kickstart the Bat family and all that kind of bullshit and jump over all kinds of shit without it. To me, that's the big mistake. That's where the mistake is right there. Because Batman, no matter how you cut it, no matter who your favorite is, across the board, Batman is the biggest of all these characters, period, hands down. He sells more comics, sells more toys, his movies are bigger, his ancillary characters are bigger, the proof is in the pudding with the Joker. End of discussion. Absolutely. They fuck that up, this is over. Superman, I'm not worried about because it's either going to be good or it's going to be better than what we got before. Sorry, I hate to say that, kids, because I got more faith in him in that because he's been posting a lot of stuff with Snyder, and until I hear something otherwise, or not Snyder, Jesus Christ. I meant Jesus Christ, Donner.
A lot of
Donner and Alex Ross. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Not so much on the Donner, more Alex Ross, but yeah.
But either way, so in that respect, I'm willing to wait and see what he's got in store for Superman. Batman has me fucking worried. I'd almost rather see the fucking Waynes die again on screen and have him reboot this motherfucker than have him start this late in the game with Batman. Because you are jumping up. You're making the same mistake Marvel did. You're jumping over so much history. Mm-hmm. And this is not even a personal thing with me, because even though I don't like the Bat family and redundant characters, you're just jumping over so much history that it's just like you're making this huge mistake. There's all these great Batman villain stories and all these other stories that are involved with that you could have told way before Damian Wayans. And from everybody's reaction to Damian Wayans, because I'm not that familiar with him, I'm only vaguely familiar with him. From everybody's reaction to this, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Is what I'm getting from most people. Like, I hate Damian Wayans is what most people are saying. Wayans, I almost just said there. Damian Wayans. Wayne, Jesus Christ,
Wayne.
I do it again. I did that earlier on Mr. H over and over again because we made fun of it because of the Wayans. But anyway, Damon Wayans. Yeah, Damon Wayans is Robin. I'd rather have that shit. I'd rather have Damon Wayans as Robin. But anyway, no, like, not only that, speaking of Robin, here's where my, I'm sick of redundant characters thing. Robin himself as the Boy Wonder has never gotten his just due. Even in the old Batman TV series, Dick Grayson's, almost college age, right? Script.
He's
in
16
high
for the
school at that
majority
point.
16,
of the,
17 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we got Chris O'Donnell, it was basically Nightwing, right? Like, he's an adult already. He's not really a kid.
He even said it in the movie, Batboy, Nightwing, as obviously. I was just like, oh, huh.
Yeah, I think that the Boy Wonder deserves his finally deserves a good, dramatic, serious look at this idea of, okay, how can the Batman justify allowing this 12, 13-year-old kid to do what he's doing, but also how can he not allow him to do it? Because the kid has the same, history as he does, and he's can't stop him from getting his vengeance because that's what he's doing. Right. So you got to be able to me, that's a more interesting story than jumping this far ahead to the Damian Wayne story. Jesus Christ. Because I already know what that's all about. And I hate that shit. Yeah. So just on a personal level, I don't want to see it either.
It's a bad mistake. He is making a large mistake.
Yeah, and that's a huge mistake.
Teague asks, will we finally get Dr. Manhattan versus
As a
Superman?
hardcore Batman guy in the history of Batman, this is the most obscure ass, least less known, least popular Robin they could possibly fucking pick to tell a story about.
It's terrible.
Stephanie Brown would be more revered as a Robin.
Yep, exactly.
Brown. Yeah.
Honestly, you're right. I'd rather
Kelly.
have what's-her-face, Kelly. Yeah.
Or Carrie Kelly.
Carrie Kelly is another one.
Yeah.
Or Dark Knight Returns. Yeah.
That was one female Robin I didn't have a problem with. Teague says, will we finally get Dr. Manhattan versus Superman? I don't know.
I hope
don't
not.
know. I doubt it.
No,
Doubtful.
why even do that? That's pointless. That was a terrible comic book.
He's also got that other group coming in that's kind of the same anyway. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, how much pivoting can DC do year by year? Dropping or adjusting projects? How flexible can they be? Ideas pocketed with plans fixed on the fly. Honestly, T, they can do it pretty. We saw what they've done already. I just hope they don't make the same mistakes as the previous regime. And that'll kind of lead into this next bit here, which is James Gunn, Peter Safran, about to put screenwriting first to fix a once fucked up DC studios. So here's even more from this business.
This way, there's only 3 things on that entire slate that we're guaranteed to get. That's the Creature Commandos, Waller, and Superman. Everything else is subject to change.
Yes. Yep. That sounds right.
Okay, so getting past the ancillary or early on bullshit or whatever you want to call it. First and foremost, Gunn and Safran were adamant that they would not green light a movie until it was ready. People have become beholden to release dates to getting movies made, no matter what. Gunn said of the modern studio habit of scheduling tentpole films and sequels for theatrical release long before creative teams come together. I'm a writer at heart, and we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished. Gunn said that even films with front-loaded release dates will be pushed down the calendar if script is not ready prior to production. I've seen it happen again and again. It's a mess. He said it's a primary reason for the deterioration of the quality of films today versus 20, 30 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm kind of surprised he had the balls to say something like that.
Well,
that feels like premonition.
Box office has diminished over the last 30 years, so he's well aware of that.
That feels like a premonition to what I said a few minutes ago. Where I said, don't announce too far ahead. Let's make sure what you got going is going to, actually stick. So once again, even though I'm not a fan of this overall announcement, I do like what's being said here as far as, making sure like, hey, let's make sure we got something. Let's make sure that this is, actually going to happen rather than just jump ahead to all these parts. Because once again, look at the, when the Amazing Spider-Man 2 hit theaters. They announced a 3rd movie and a 4th movie, and then they were talking about like a Sinister 6 movie. They were even though they denied it first, but it came out from the Sony leaks.
No, they did the same thing with DC.
They were announcing
first.
all these things, It's just like, hold up, wait up, slow down. You barely even got this.
You guys got to remember, The Flash has been technically announced
Done
way back
for many years.
2014, I think originally was Script Doctor. This version,
yeah, it's been done for years.
Cyborg was supposed to get his own movie at one point.
Speaking of Cyborg, I bet he's finding a way to link this back to Walter Hamada. How can I make this announcement about Walter Hamada?
I'm sure he's using this very article right here for that matter. Anyway, moving on with this Gunn, we got this from Lobo, blah, blah, blah. Okay. To that end, of the 10 DCU titles that Gunn and Safran presented on Monday, only one has a release date. Superman Legacy, which Gunn is writing, is set to open on July 11th, 2025. Otherwise, feature films including new Supergirl movie and a Batman and Robin movie and TV series for HBO, including Green Lantern detective series and a Wonder Woman prequel series set on Themyscira, are undated and will remain so, Gunn said, until their scripts are solid. The degradation of the writer in Hollywood has been a terrible story, Gunn said. It's gotten much worse since I first moved here 23 years ago. Writers have been completely left out of the loop in favor of actors and directors, and making the writer more prominent and more important in the process is really important to us. Gunn added that he believes the superhero fatigue is really is a real thing, largely because of the lack of care given to the writing process. Fucker saying exactly what we were saying.
Oh, this is making me hopeful because Tom King's not going to be able to meet this, and he's going to be ejected pretty quick.
They make these movies where they don't have third acts written, he said, and then they start writing them during production, making them up as they're going along. And then you're watching a bunch of people punch each other, and there's no flow even to the action. Added Safran, it's a bad movie fatigue. Holy shit. Is he fucking listening to us?
I hope so, because I want my email and phone to be ringing constantly. Like, we need to
There he is. I'll bet he's out there now.
In order to avoid that issue, Gunn and Safran said that they are aiming to diversify the kinds of stories they're telling at DC Studios, taking a not too thinly veiled swipe at a plot model familiar to fans of Marvel Studios. So there was some swiping at Marvel. You can't be telling the same good guy, bad guy, giant thing in the sky, good guys win story again. Gunn said, you need to tell stories that are more morally complex. You need to tell stories that don't just pretend to be different genres, but actually are different genres. Wow.
Nice. I got 4 things ready to go right now.
Wow.
That almost gave me goosebumps.
I can hear Owen Wilson being wowed by this.
It almost made me Owen Wilson for a minute there. Did you hear that?
I heard that. Wow.
Sounds like a cat.
Wow. You're really gonna do this, huh? Wow. What about me for Booster Gold? Oh, Chris Pratt. Okay. Wow. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Pratt is a good idea for Booster Gold, by the way.
I think so. I
actually would like that. I'll actually get. That would actually make me excited. If Chris Pratt was in the rank for Booster Gold, I would actually be very enthusiastic about that.
Yeah, and then this quote we actually read before from the other retelling of this. So then they go on to say the struggle for DC Connect to fans and early the tens of billions that its rival Marvel has made over has been well documented. Jesus Christ. And Gunn had a pretty blunt assessment of how the litany of random, disconnected, and often undercooked DC adaptations had diluted the overall brand. As everyone here probably knows, the history of DC is pretty messed up. It was fucked up, Gunn said.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Here, amen.
Gunn name-checked TV series spearheaded by TV super producer Greg Berlanti, like Arrow, The Flash, feature films run by Zack Snyder until Joss Whedon took the reins of the widely panned Justice League, leading to the fan campaign resurrected Snyder's original vision, which debuted on HBO Max in 2021, and more recent adaptations by Matt Reeves, The Batman, and Gunn and Safran themselves, The Suicide Squad, peppered throughout were disappointments and busts such as last fall's Black Adam or Birds of Prey. No one was minding the mint, Gunn said. They were just giving away IP like they were party favors to any creators that smiled at them. The co-creators rejoiced.
You also checked certain boxes because they didn't give them any to me.
Yeah. So then he goes on to having a unified creative force behind DC, one that will encompass movie series, animation, and gaming. But given their parent company CEO David Zaslav's commitment, to shedding debt and cutting costs, there's wiggle room in how and where these projects manifest, especially for series. We have the ability to sell outside HBO Max if that makes sense, Safran said. So we'll figure out if there's a certain shows coming up that would be better served elsewhere, or if there's not real estate on HBO Max for us. But we like the idea of having shows on Amazon and Hulu and Netflix. It just broadens the DC audience. Now, I get what he's saying here, but what people are going to twist this in now? This is the last kernel of hope for the fucking Snyder people. Why the fuck did you say this?
Oh, I can break that.
Oh, dude, they're already doing it. They're already doing it on Twitter. They're already begging for a Elseworld make Snyderverse and Elseworlds. They're already doing it.
To make an Elseworlds and to make it to Netflix. Well, guess what? I hate to break it to you. Number one, Zack Snyder is busy with Rebel Moon. Number two, the entire cast of the Snyderverse have other projects in the work. The odds of them getting it scheduled to happen either before the Superman movie or even afterwards are astronomically high. It's not happening. There's too many gears in the works. It's never going to happen. At least it's highly unlikely it's going to happen. I won't say never. It's highly unlikely it's going to happen.
Yeah.
The other part too is Netflix also can use their own number metric to find out how popular the Snyderverse was over on HBO Max. And if the numbers aren't there, they're not going to jump it.
Look, and that's what we've said time and time again. If the Snyder Cut was such a huge success, we would not be having this fucking conversation right now.
That's true. They had the perfect timing to get that movie out and to put it in front of people, because there was not a whole lot coming out that was considered, granted, I know it's not new technically at the time, but as far as what the public haven't seen, that was the perfect opportunity. While most people were still staying at home, you had the perfect opportunity to put that in front of them and for people to respond to, even people who probably haven't normally wouldn't watch it. But hey, well, I got nothing else to watch and there's nothing new coming out for the foreseeable future. I may as well watch this movie. That had everything set up in its favor to go all the way with great viewing numbers, and it's clear that it didn't, and it only succeeded to its crowd that it has succeeded to before. The Snyder crowd, who are very invested, but it didn't have any reach outside of it. There's no reach. The same people were talking about then who loved it then, we're talking about the same people who didn't like it then, talked about how much they didn't like it. People who didn't care then didn't care, again.
Well, and here's the thing, and Safran's just kind of reiterating what Zaslav has said in the past, and that is we can put this stuff elsewhere, and people can watch it. We can put it on,
Netflix, Amazon, Hulu.
Other places. And what he's talking, and if he means anything, he means stuff that's already been made in the past, or he's talking about stuff that's connected to this fucking universe. Because I'm with Script. I think the Elseworld thing is only going to be a thing up and until the Batman shit is done. And then after that's done, we're not going to see anything else after that that is not connected to the DCU.
Yeah, I think Elseworld's going to be a retro label for anything that doesn't quite jive with the with the direction of the film. So if they release that Brave and the Bold movie and it doesn't do well, it's going to have an Elseworld label slapped on it so fast it's going to make your head spin. It's going to be like the changing of the Birds of Prey title from Birds of Prey to the Harley Quinn movie or whatever it is they did. That's what's going to happen. That's what I suspect will happen. It's their escape card or escape rope for things that don't perform well.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking for any more really interesting
something
points
notable.
In here. Yeah.
I figured you were.
And here he says, going off of that note right here.
We have the resources. I mean,
we were just talked about that, so we already kind of covered that. And this is actually coming off of what Script just said here, right here. If somebody is doing something that isn't working, we're going to be honest, Gunn said. And this is the first part of that quote we got. But now we got the rest of the quote. This is why you want the goddamn press conference. One of my primary focuses is being honest with everyone. Somebody brings me an idea that doesn't work, I'm honest about it. We're building right now the foundation for a studio that we want to last. and it just can't last if we haven't built it on anything other than rigorous honesty. So, I mean, that tells me they're not gonna, he's not gonna stay off Twitter either. Jesus Christ. Oh Lord. And then there was another version of this here too that Six and I found. Let me peruse this real quick while you guys discuss amongst yourselves again.
Yeah.
New feelings about any of this stuff.
That.
Mikey, Six, anything new to add to any of this? You guys have been kind of quiet.
No, just listening, taking it all in.
Klobby or anything?
Yeah. I think that no, I'm just kidding. I got nothing. I'm sorry. I thought Nick had something.
Well, I was waiting for you to go first.
No, I was just.
I mean,
I knew you were, so I was going to wait for you. Go ahead.
Well, I like what's being said interview-wise. I mean, Gunn is saying, I'll just say the right words, stuff that I guess you could say should be considered common sense. I hope that will make up for, down the line, maybe I'll be more enthusiastic. Like I said, I stand by everything I said earlier as far as the announcement of a lot of these projects. I'm not enthusiastic about many of them. Like right now, right off the top of my head, I'd say I'd give that Creature Commandos cartoon a shot. Why not? I could, go for something a bit weird and odd and it's animated. Cool. And of course, obviously anything that's got Hal Jordan's name, you got my attention. And the fact that they want to make a big space opera, okay, cool, done. And of course, anyone who knows me, who watches our comic shop show, shameless plug for the comic shop show, I have mentioned historically how much I love my Booster Gold. I want that character so faithfully done. It's stupid. So I want those things. I want my Booster Gold. And
Six did remind me of one more thing here.
Go ahead.
About the whole thing with Batgirl. They did comment on that. The story she just sent me here. They were talking a little bit about that. Yeah, they said they just basically confirmed everything we had said before, and that it was gonna destroy the DC universe.
Well, here's the other thing to also keep of note. When you take a look at Christina Hodgson, who's on that writers team, that I think is also a consolation prize for the fact that because she wrote Batgirl, and that got axed. So I'm telling you right now, I highly suspect that the writers team is going to go through a series of rotations of different writers over the next year and a bit. I think, I mean, if James Gunn is going to stay true to what he said, if he's going to follow his actions, because again, you have to pay more attention to the actions than what they say. If he follows his words and lives up to those words, Tom King will be gone before the end of this year. Christina Hodgson will probably be gone after The Flash is released. Drew Goddard will probably stay, and Crystal Hall will probably stay as well because they're associated to the next two shows coming out. So I don't think that's going to be a solid ingrained part. I will say this though, again, if Congress allows international travel to the United States in April, I'll be spending most of my summer convincing everyone in town to eject Tom King.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, I'm
spare
still
them a lot of money. That's going to be wasted.
I'm not totally sold, but I'm fairly optimistic. I mean, as I said in my discussion earlier with you and Andre, Script Doctor, I said I'm kind of looking at this as a half glass full kind of thing. It's up to James Gunn to fill that rest of that glass, whether it's full of some really nice tequila like Mikey had there, or it's some piss. We have yet to be seen, but
yeah.
Let's see what you guys are saying out there. Unless Six or Mikey or
Granny's peach tea, Tom. You gotta bring this.
I almost went for that fucking joke too.
I'm gonna treat the James Gunn Cinematic Universe Stewardship WB, whatever the fuck we call this thing, as a tequila tasting. I'm probably gonna get some shitty bottles. I'm probably gonna get a couple good bottles, and I'm probably gonna get a couple things that I'm just gonna make a margarita out of. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a fair way to look at it, Mike. I mean, again, I have no confidence in anything that they talked about here, especially since we got the way he speaks so glowingly of Tom King. That just kind of puts a damper on a lot of it to me. So who knows? Yeah, there's nothing. The Brave and the Bold thing is like the worst, really almost the worst of these to me. That one, and the Lanterns thing kind of actually bothers me more than most people apparently, because he's talking about why don't you just make a Green Lantern Corps show and that's that? What is this all this True Detective stuff?
I have another one. If you're going to do a team up, why can't I get Green Lantern and Green Arrow?
Hey, you're on. You're on too.
I mean,
That
come
would
on.
be nice.
Hello.
Hey, look.
There's me flexing my knowledge of DC. If we're going to do a buddy team up, guess what? My favorite run of all DC comic is Green Lantern and Green Arrow. Why can't we get that?
Great comic.
Hard Traveling Heroes by O'Neill and Adams. I mean, do something like that. I would love it. Yeah, so suffering to get enthusiastic about any of this kind of stuff. I don't trust James Gunn, but I also think, like you said, Mike, there might be a good thing here and two pop out of here. But today's announcements and all that stuff shows me nothing to be particularly optimistic about. But, we'll see.
Yeah, I think this comic here kind of gives the panels feelings pretty well. The glass is half full, glass is half empty, half full, no wait, half empty, no wait, half, no half. What was the question? And the last one, I ordered a cheeseburger. 6, did you order a cheeseburger? Did you get one of these other reactions to this? I know you've been running around in the background, but you've kind of got an idea of all these extra things we've been talking about. So I think if there's anything that we previously may have discussed or that you found in the background that you want to discuss now, what's your feelings on all of it?
I just want a live action Super Friends
Yes.
movie.
That'd be nice.
Meanwhile,
Blonde
Later, it's a whole
Aquaman,
topic.
blonde short-haired Aquaman.
Yes.
And I thought I was really going to be excited about this, and I'm just disappointed, and Mikey's pissed off, and nobody really seems to be all that.
I'm the glass half full type right now.
I'm probably more positive of this than
Yeah.
everybody here because I can see the formula of what they're trying to do to hit
Yeah,
the market.
it is exciting that they're rebranding, rebooting, or whatever you want to call it. I can't wait to hear about who they're casting, and I just saw something that there's 3 directors that they're talking to for the first 3 movies that they're putting out. So
Who are they? Do you have that handy still?
I don't know.
Oh, if you don't have it handy, don't worry about it. No, you've been so busy that I don't want you to
I
worry
know
about
it's just been like I said at the beginning of the show, like I checked out after hearing Tom pooping on Supergirl, so I knew
That's the
slightly more
really-
than Mikey did at the beginning of the show, so I've been doing a lot of catch up.
Script has 7 out of the 10 projects announced. The only two that really give me pause are the Batman and Supergirl ones.
And those
That's
are the
it.
2 that give me pause too.
Yeah,
So,
because the Supergirl
And
one.
it's
first of all-
Tom King is the only reason. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Clyde.
I was like Tom King, exactly. The Supergirl one, again, I would even wonder, 6, even though it's adapted from a Tom King story that features the Kara Supergirl, is that right? That does no guarantee it will be Kara Zor-El, in that it could still be the one from the
Injustice
Flash
one.
movie or whatever, or
Yeah,
something
the
like that, the
Injustice
Injustice
one.
one. So we don't, just because there's, even if it's based on that so-called story, so we don't even know if it's going to look like real deal Supergirl, or they're gonna, who knows at this stage. Don't put anything past them.
But let's see what you guys are saying out there in the chat. Mr. TT says, "I'm loving the shit was broken" quote. By I know it's been a roller coaster of emotions. I tell you what. Nick is in. Why'd you send a super chat? You're on the fucking panel.
Because it's a funny quote that I can already hear Kryborg saying.
Can someone show me how I can make this a DCU announcement about Walter Hamada? How was my cyborg? Was that pretty good?
Yeah.
Yep. You weren't crying enough, but
Oh, let me do that again. Can someone show me how I can make this DC announcement about Walter motherfucker Hamada? That racist bastard. Thank you.
well done, sir.
Mr. Tickletrunk says, "Preach, James Gunn, preach, you marvelous mofo." I know, it's like he's tearing me up and down like a roller coaster today.
He says marvelous and fantastic about 50 times in that. He's still marvel in that.
Yeah, he did
that
say
announcement.
marvelous a lot. The announcement was so heavily edited. And that's what I was saying. It is one of the most safest announcements in the world. That, to finish off what I was saying earlier. Because really, the only people this is going to super piss off are any of the Snyder fans or anybody who's really hung up on like Henry Cavill and a few other, random things. Outside of that, I think most people are just kind of like, meh, whatever. Or they're actually kind of genuinely interested in at least one or two of these things. And that's, I think, their goal is to at least, they knew they were never going to make the Snyder fans happy.
No.
They knew they were never going to make the fans that are hung up on all these actors, whether they were Snyder fans or not, happy.
True.
But in this case, they're doing the best they can to make the largest group of fans probably interested. That's the most they can hope for at this point, I think. I don't know, Script, what do you think of that analysis from Hollywood standpoint?
I mean, this is essentially the type of pitch that, as Paul Chato said in his video, that that Steve Jobs would have done for the Apple products. And you can tell which ones he's excited for and which ones he's just saying to toe the company line. And he's keeping it vague and he's underplaying it so that when he does release the projects as he releases them, hopefully he's the products themselves will knock your socks off as opposed to the hype being antithetical to the success of the show, which is what Marvel's been doing for the last 5 years. They've been hyping them stuff up and it's always been failing to deliver. I think James Gunn is trying a reverse formula here where he's not going to be too big on the hype. He's going to be excited, but just enough so that you can get interested, but hopefully not to the point where the hype will supersede any chance of the project itself being successful.
Mm. Now, you had a great quote earlier, and this was my first any knowledge of this other press conference. This is the one thing you did find earlier, Script, while we did that video. If you have it handy, that quote that Safran said about Superman, because I haven't been able to come across that. And the many things Six has sent me or I have here, I either missed it or whatever, but that was another thing I did want to get. I don't know if you have that around, but if somebody has it. But I thought that was one thing that did make me feel good, too.
What was it about?
The America, it'll be about truth, justice, and the American way.
I
they
saw
were talking
that.
about Superman. Yeah, if you know, I've been looking for that one. I couldn't find it. Predent, and I don't know how to look for it like you guys do. I'm sorry, I'm not
You
that
do
savvy.
Control F and you type in truth.
Oh, for fuck's sake. When I saw Robin appear in the slate, says Pardinensky, if I'm saying that, or Pradinesky, I think that's it. One of your Canadian friends there, Script. Am I saying it right?
Pradinensky.
All right. I think he said it better than me. When I saw Robin appear in the slate, I was excited, but once Gunn opened his mouth and said Damian Wayne, I put my hand in my face and just started laughing. Should have been Dick and a younger Batman. I agree. Yeah. Phrasing aside,
I was gonna say the phrasing on that last sentence sounds a bit off, but I get
that
what
sounds like
saying.
a bad porno. Dick and a younger Batman.
You had to go there.
You can't look at that line and not
Oh, that's the one. Okay, thank you, Six. I even had this one up twice.
Yeah, if you go down to the movies part under Superman
Yes, there we
Legacy, second paragraph.
Yeah, I even had this up twice. Six and I had both had this one actually, because this is the first one I shared and then I pulled down.
That's why you gotta put the word grace in after that word always.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, you passed
Okay,
it.
so did I? Okay. Oh, there it is.
Movies,
Okay.
Superman Legacy, second paragraph.
Okay, it focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Safran said, he is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. And that quote right there, I thought, that's what I want to hear about my Superman.
That's what you want to hear about Superman.
Absolutely. Very true.
And, the Tom King thing aside, if they're going at this with a Supergirl, like I said, that is a bit more of a different outlook on things, and she's a bit more, you can have a bit of a back and forth with them, but it all depends on how it's handled. So we'll see. But if it's the what's-her-face, the Supergirl, then I bet it's going to be a woke-ass mess. But yeah, I agree with you, Pardinaski, on the whole Batman side of things, too. Pradinesky. Did I say it wrong again? Probably. Cryam says continuity and universe stories need to be aborted for a few years. Give me 10 years of one-off stories. Do something like Superman and Red Sun. Well, I agree with you on a lot of that, Cryam, but I also see that partially what they're doing here is, I think Script is right. If something doesn't work, it's going to get that Elseworlds sticker slapped on it quicker than you could fucking believe. And that's why I think a lot of their first movies out the gate are going to be that way, to where they don't have to rely on them. It's like, okay, that worked. Well, and I don't know if it was one of the things we read here, because I've gone through so much of this today, but they said, these bigger diamond characters, I think it was earlier when we saw it in the one thing, these diamond characters, as they referred to as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, will help introduce people to these other characters that are lesser known. So in that is where I'm seeing like, okay, they'll make a movie, then if the character works, then they'll make a sequel with a lesser known character and build it from there. I don't know how people feel about that, but I think that's the way they're going to go with this. If I had to guess. And while in the meantime, they'll have like an overarching kind of Thanos kind of story going on in the background that they'll build up to like a Justice League type of situation. Anybody agree, disagree with that?
I think he's going to build the foundation that's needed in order to secure the reliability and sustainability of the studio.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, to where something can be jettisoned real quick if it's not working.
Yeah, and I think they're going to, I think they're probably going to see that once they start getting the dailies in. And then all of a sudden you're going to get the announcement like, okay, well, we spent this money. We don't want to axe it, but there's something good here. It's just not going to fit in line with the overall story. We'll do a couple of tweaks just to differentiate a little bit and slap on the Elseworlds, and we're saved.
Or I'll even see some as post-release. Like I kind of think you're onto something with like if the Batman Brave and the Bold does not work, watch it go straight like it only spend like a month or two in the theater, go to VOD, and then like the logos in the beginning will switch from the DCU logo to the Elseworld DCU logo.
This is gonna have the Cats patch update in the theaters from the butthole cut. That's
they couldn't even go that far.
Movie posters in theaters will be taken down and replaced with a brand new poster that's gonna have the Elseworlds logo on it, and then those original posters will sell on eBay for thousands of dollars.
You're probably right. I mean, you're right. They could go to that extent if they wanted to.
Could we?
But Cryam says continuity in universe. Okay. Do something like Superman Red Sun.
They did an animated version of that. I heard they ruined it, but it was a good decent.
I have a feeling we'll get
well.
some of these stories from time to time, like Scripps right. There will be some that are meant to be Elseworld stories to begin with, but that's when something comes in that James or Peter really like, but they may be like, look, that doesn't fit within our universe. But do you think you can do this as an Elseworld story, maybe as like a mini series on HBO Max?
They should do Kingdom Come, but animated.
Something to that effect, maybe.
Yes, Alex Ross.
Animated to look like Alex Ross. Yes, just do that.
But then again, that's a mixed signal of I don't see this being a long-term thing with this Elseworld thing all the time, unless it is going to be.
I think it'd be very sporadic. Yeah. I also suspect, like, here's the way that I'm good. Here's the best case situation I can pitch for you guys. That I get lucky enough to go down and pitch some of my projects for Warner Brothers, takes on the IP that they decide, okay, we like that, it's going to be Elseworlds. And if I'm really fortunate, I have a great team behind me and a great director and great cast, and it gets so popular, I think that Elseworlds label is going to vanish and it's going to be part of the main DCU. Because that also could be a possibility as well. Something on the outside could be so good that they're like, we got to incorporate this into our main thing, and so that Elseworlds label is going to vanish. So
the only other reason. No, I think you're right, Script. The only other reason I bring it up as even a point is because Zaslav said he doesn't really want that, right? So that's the only thing I see is like after a certain cutoff point, I'm not so sure we're going to see a lot of Elseworld stuff necessarily, unless it's used in the way you're talking. Then I can, but we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Miss Chickle Trunk says, read it slower, Tom. Gunn's giving me a halfie. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing there, buddy. Mark,
listen, I just hope he lives up to those words that he has said.
I hope so too. Mark's 47's been a member for 21 months. Thank you so much, Mark's 47. Werewolf's been a member for 19 months. Thank you so much, Werewolf. Then we got Lenny Quartowitz. Quartowitz says in $10 says, hello, Tom and friends. I don't understand how the Flash can reboot the entire universe, but Aquaman 2 comes out afterwards. Possibly more Cena, Godot, Momoa, but no Cavill or Affleck. Gunn. This is where I'm saying there's this mixed.
No, you're misinterpreting that, Larry.
Yeah.
Again, James Gunn said even in his announcement video that the Flash is going to reset, but then Superman Legacy is going to be the start of the actual DCU, which again, it's a contradiction.
But I don't blame him. Yeah,
I don't blame him for it. He's doing it to make sure people can go to the theaters.
No, I mean I don't blame Larry for his.
I don't blame Larry either for misinterpreting that. I think everybody's going to easily misinterpret that because they're only looking at. I mean, there's no reason for them not to look at it on the superficial level. Like,
Yeah.
as the audience, there's no reason for you guys to look
Because
any
it
deeper
is.
into
It's confusing, and this is one of the main reasons why the title is this. And here we
Gods and
go.
monsters. Now, this, what I'm
Okay.
about to a group of very talented writers have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter.
See, and then they cut to this.
First project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated
Creature
series
Commandos,
played by
Amanda
Viola
Waller.
Davis. Viola Davis. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for
And
people
then
to
as
see.
script says-
Okay, next up is a big one, the true beginning of the DCU.
He says the true beginning of the DCU.
After all of those things that have
I
already been
know.
spoken
After he
about.
said those are first, then he said this. Here's the real
I know,
beginning.
and that's what I'm saying. It's so
Epilogue?
fucking confusing.
Yeah.
But Peter, when Peter talks about it, he said it like basically that Superman is the beginning of this. So
What
again, we
I
have to-
got
Yeah.
out
That's
of it
weird.
was the Superman's the big major characters. So what I got out of it is this is what the first major character introduction to this universe is. That's what I got out of
I
it.
think he
was
just means
that.
these are going to predate it. They come out before it. I mean,
That the
that's
stuff that's coming out before it, I obviously is the overall proper introduction to the universe. But as far as big deal characters, that's what I got of it. Superman's
No,
the first real
think
introduction because
I
he's a
think the
big
stuff
deal.
I think the stuff that's coming up before it is going to be what Sony does when they say they're making a Marvel movie. I think that's what it is essentially.
Hey, maybe
Like,
you're right.
oh,
We'll
we're just going to
see.
say these are DCU stuff, but really it's
Well,
not.
And his 6 points out here, he makes it confusing. That's the problem. Because in the video I just showed you, he says flat out, the Flash will reset the entire DC universe, right? And then he said, Blue Beetle and the Aquaman sequel will then lead into the new slate of projects. Again, being kind of, you got to listen to the
he's not wrong.
terminology.
They will
Yeah.
be the stuff that comes after that is technically led in by those movies, but it's not connected.
And they're not wanting to answer any straight questions about anybody returning. So yeah, that's the thing. It's very mixed answers. It's very political answers to a lot of things. Especially the Lobo answer. You can read into it just about anything you want to read into it at this point. And that's about what most of this is outside of the solid shit they've given us, which is really little bit, if you really look at it from the grand scheme of it all. Tiger Valley sends in a super chat and says, will older DC movies all get Elseworld label? I think so. I think that's part of the
yeah,
whole
like
thing.
released on
a lot
physical,
of
they
Legends.
probably will.
Yeah, a lot of Legends with Star Wars type deal.
Yeah. And then Cardinal Sin, who's been a member for 14 months, says, such a wonderful panel. What did I do to deserve this? I don't know. I guess you're in the, you wanted a cheeseburger camp. And then Larry Quartowitz sends in another one and says, loved how Gunn sounded unprofessional about Flash, Shazam, etc. And then actually sounded excited when he mentioned other things. LOL Gunn.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because again, we're saying, like, what is he going to say to that? You know?
He's going to support the things that were in production, shot, and were being edited prior to his arrival at DC Studios, because again, that's the next slate of projects. But it's the stuff that he is going to be doing that he's clearly going to have more passion for. And there's no advantage to him crapping on those movies before they come out.
No.
I would not be surprised if he's going to do a panel that leads right up to the first trailer for Superman Legacy. And he's going to say, those 4 movies, The Flash, I still love The Flash, but it didn't do well. So it's a good thing we're not following through with that anymore. Like, he'll probably find a very politically friendly way to throw shade on those failures, those eventual failures, and still be able to build up interest in the new stuff that he's doing.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do that beforehand. It'd be foolish.
We got Elf, who's been a member for 6 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you so much. Speaking of minimum effort, showing up at the very end of the stream.
Hey, I just thought I'd pop in to see what condition my condition was in.
Everybody's ready to throw shit right now and or just chill out. I don't know.
I know I'm late, but I thought I'd
nobody's
come in
really
and say
jumping
hi.
up and down and happy about the news, but I'm assuming you already know the big news of the day. So
James Gunn stuff and all that.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's all very exciting.
That was a good joke, 70s.
I'm quivering with excitement. In fact,
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have a show coming up in about what 30 minutes, Nick?
Yes, sir.
And I've got an hour of a movie
Tuesday.
left to watch, so I got to hurry up and watch it in half the time.
Yeah,
It's the Postman, isn't it? The Postman we're doing.
Yes, we're doing the Postman.
The 6-hour edition, the 6-hour special edition.
The 6-hour edition of the Postman.
I thought you're doing Wakanda for Never.
That's next week.
Oh.
So yeah, I know you talked about it already, but the Flash is one of the greatest superhero movies ever, eh?
How about you don't show up to the show late next time with bad ideas and bad commentary?
He's a great character. But
I'm gonna say something about that quote. Almost every time, I'm not gonna say every, minor backtrack, almost every time, a lot of times since, let's just say, The Dark Knight. It keeps saying a new DC movie comes out, it's the best one since The Dark Knight. They overhype the shit out of almost all of these movies, and that's not a fair comparison, even if it's good, or even if you enjoy it as much as that, because The Dark Knight really was truly its own entity. And yes, I know Batman by default is a more quote-unquote realistic character than the others, but that take was even more humanistic than what Batman naturally speaking is. It's just that thing was its own actual pocket universe and should not really be compared to anything else. And the fact that people wanted stuff like that, but for other characters, just goes to show you how many comic books a lot of people don't read, because just because it works for Batman doesn't mean it works for every other character.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny you bring that up, because on the other side of that, the funny thing about the comment that it's funny that he makes this comment, because everybody's made the same comment about this movie. It's almost like that's the what's the word I'm looking for? Script doctor. Like that's the line that everybody's making everybody go with when they're talking about this movie.
It's their talking point out.
Talking point. That's what I was waiting for. Thank you. So I don't even know if he believes it necessarily. It's what everybody has fucking said about it so far. So it's either fucking true, which I have a hard time fucking believing, you know, or they're just it's their talking point until the fucking movie comes out. And Paulie might be right about, you know, Ezra not going anywhere. He's got good instincts on that, because I said it flat out. If they could make something stick to him that would actually, you know, be fireable, that was worse, you know, that overpowers his they-them isms, then they could just flat out fucking say he's gone. But until this movie comes out, or until he does something worse, they can't. And then at that point, we ain't gonna see another Flash for years. We know that already. That's a fucking given.
Oh, so wait, so when the Flash movie comes out and it sucks, then I don't have to worry about seeing another Flash movie forever? That's freaking...
You're not going to see another Flash movie for years anyway.
You won't be seeing Ezra forever. I'll put it that way.
Dear Ezra Miller, can you please go and fuck this up?
Even if it doesn't suck,
Ezra has caused enough headaches with Warner Brothers over the last 2.5 years. He is not coming back after this movie.
Even if it's an enormous success and it doesn't suck?
that's going to be really hard for them to pull off.
Well, it's a possibility. I mean, there's always a chance.
Funnily enough, there's
always a chance that I will crap a bridge that will make us all walk to the moon easily. So like,
there's somebody that this is not from one of my sources. This is from somebody else who does have some reliable sources. Let's say I'm not going to say the individual because I don't think they put it in a report yet. But they did say flat out that Ezra's staying or not has everything to do with whether or not the movie makes money and he behaves himself. But even that, I'm like, what the fuck does it matter? They don't have a Flash movie on the fucking roster for how many goddamn years? He's going to be 40 years old by the time they make fucking Flash 2. So what the hell's the point?
Yeah. I mean, there's that arithmetic to it that makes sense. Again, this Flash movie has been in production over 7 years. There is 7 years of bills piling up behind Flash. It's not even if it makes $2 billion, it won't really be making money.
It's never going to make that.
Oh, man, I worry that Paulie has a possibility of being half right. I think he could possibly stick around, but I don't see that movie succeeding. And it's not even because of what Ezra has done. More just he's just not good as that character. And on top of it, you're getting the first ever Flash movie, a story on multiple Batmen. And it's another time travel story. Time travel, just anything time travel nowadays is just absolutely going to draw a lot of confusion, convolution. It's not that normies can't keep up. I believe normies can keep up. It's just, it's going to be another headache to keep up with, is what it is. It's another headache on top of 800 other headaches we're all trying to keep up with. Now we have this movie that's going to be a headache to keep up with. But who knows? Maybe it might be both and probably ends up being right. But
I was
I
intrigued
just want that movie to not do well. I don't say it often, but I straight up want that movie to. I want that thing to have a jiggly type of bomb.
I was intrigued by the amount of money they appear to have already pumped into a Green Lantern series. They seem to have, rumors are they put a lot of money in already. So I guess that's happening.
That's something I was going to say. I did hear about the Green Lantern thing ahead of this. That was one I was not surprised about. Teague says, what are Script's thoughts on animated Flashpoint? Actually, you brought this up before, Script, but go ahead and give your thoughts real quick.
Flashpoint is one of the dumbest stories in the DC Comics universe because it's all just trying to get a Thomas Wayne Batman and a Martha Kent Joker.
I hate it.
And there's so many other ways they could have achieved that without having to do Flashpoint. It was an attempt to start the New 52, which also failed, and Rebirth, which isn't doing well at all.
That was the beginning of the end of the DC animated movies.
It was the beginning of the end. On top of that, Barry Allen is not older than Batman and Superman. So how the heck can him going back in time to save his mom affects Bruce Wayne's origin as Batman and Superman's landing in Smallville to Metropolis? It doesn't make sense. Like, if you're going to do time travel, get the basics right. And the basics are, how old are the characters? Where is he going back? And where are they in that position? And he did that wrong. Flashpoint is stupid. If you love the Thomas Wayne Batman and the Martha Wayne Joker, that's fine. I am fully on board with exploring that type of universe, but not through a Flashpoint thing, because that is dumb. It is absolutely dumb.
Flashpoint is trash from hell. I'm glad someone else agrees.
I'm not even just talking about in a DC thing. Just in general, writing of time travel, it is garbage.
It's trash. And the worst part about it, to add insult to injury, on top of everything Script said, we have already had the Flashpoint story done so many times to death. It all started in 2011 when they did with that damn comic. Then a few years later, 2010. Then 2011. All right, fuck. Sorry, screw up my English here. I hate this comic. He started 2011 with the comic book. Then was it 2012 or 13 with the movie? And then for the TV show, they brought back in 2015 or 16. Yeah, and now in recent comic book, which I haven't read, but I know it happened, they revisited that shit. And now we're coming out with a movie. This ground has been treaded upon so much in the last 12 years.
Right.
We're revisiting this territory again and again. This is like the whole, once again, when we're out of ideas, resort to time travel. Is this what DC is going to do now when their ideas just resort to Flashpoint again?
Nick, you're missing. I think actually it's a soft porn version. It's Flashpoint they're doing.
No, that's the New Zealand version. It's still Flashpoint,
You
but
really
New Zealand, so
watch
they say Flashpoint.
Wow, you sounded like Mad Mardigan doing his fucking New Zealand Batman.
Oh, by the way, Alejandro, sorry, I was going to refer to this, Tom, but you go ahead.
Yeah, Alejandro Montoya Marin is here. How you doing, my friend?
Hey.
Says the postman, you guys are in for a treat. I'll explain that in a second. A real crappy one. Hope Gunn's DC is he's a talented. Yeah, if you missed the intro, the short version of the story again is we were trying to come up with a replacement for a movie for something that what we thought wasn't going to work out, but it did anyway. But it didn't matter because in my humor, as I have some from time to time, I made a joke of let's do Waterworld. And Nick took me seriously. So
yeah, right, I did.
As a joke, we were saying the postman earlier, so that's where that came from.
My fault, Alejandro. Sorry, it was. I think I thought we were doing water sports.
Oh god darn it! 70s, you watched the wrong movie again.
Shit, I keep watching the wrong movie.
No, that was Mark. That was Mark who watched the wrong movie. Oh man, that
Water
was
sports
amazing.
is the way wrong movie. And then yes, Paulie points out that Alejandro will be on next Monday. So thank you for reminding me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Camelbot Killer says, script, Tom, panel. My thoughts of the DC direction is what you guys mentioned about Batman Brave and the Bold. Dubious. Gunn saying this is the DC future. Again, a lot of good in this, some interesting stuff, but a couple of bad things. So it's a mixed bag, unfortunately, at least in my opinion, but I can see where you're coming from here, Camelbot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damian Wayne is always a red flag. He shouldn't exist as a
Certainly.
character.
You know, there some people like that Super Sons book with him in it, and I respect that because Tomasi's a good writer. A lot of my friends like that comic, but I can't even don't even want to touch it because of him.
No, like heck, I saw the Super Sons cartoon that they did recently.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
And they basically just rip off the Deep Space Nine theme for Superman's.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's basically that. It's like sped up by like 0.5.
Wow. Someone told me that was pretty good, but I hadn't seen it.
Well, it's okay, but it's got a lot of the stupid, like dark, edgy stuff. Lois Lane curses like a sailor because that makes sense.
Oh my God, really?
Damian is too good for the Teen Titans, but really wants to be with them. Like, it's just yeah.
Well, thanks for the warning.
Camelbot Killer says, it's like KK saying this is the Star Wars future. Need upper management going back to older comic book characters that people know and love, and not something new. I agree with this to a point. Too much of the newer stuff.
That Gunn is picking stuff that's current to adapt. I mean, if the dude, he's clearly did not get a good psychologist as a kid, as he's talked about in that article. He shouldn't be interested in any of the modern day stuff. A fan his age that has grown up with reading comics for decades. Again, I don't know anyone over the age of 50 that likes anything that came out over the last 20 years in comparison to the previous 40.
Yeah. He's just saying that crap. He doesn't read anything about us. He did, he was told, look, Tom King wants in. Tell everybody you like his stupid comics.
I hope that's the case, Clobby, but
I hope so because he's got to leave now.
We can't deny that there isn't a woke side to James Gunn.
No, there is. I was told.
Oh, no, there is.
Right.
I guess. The problem.
Yeah.
He's married to a straight white woman that's in her mid 30s. He's definitely got to tout some of the wokeness.
Yeah, he probably does have that bad taste. After I was trying to give benefit of the doubt, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Mega J said, "I'm with Nick on this. Make Flash flop."
Yeah,
don't worry, flop. Make Flash flop.
And I know you're probably joking, Sander Hammerslag, but no, we are watching the longer version of Waterworld, and it does happen to have more water in it. This is true.
Only a little bit. Bring a towel.
Bring a towel. Don't forget a towel. That's a very
important thing. I know where your towel is.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
That's right. Camelbot Killer says, should have started DC in an era like 20s, 40s. Where old DC characters started through the decades to introduce new characters, if popular, do more. I don't mind this as kind of like a Elseworld idea. Like I'd love to see like a noir Batman circa like, 30s, 40s, whatever. But for the rest of the stuff, and maybe even a Superman kind of like in the vein of the Fleischer cartoons, but not as your main. I have no issues with these characters being in the modern times. You just have to be able to do something that works within what the character is.
I just hope that they they don't make it our modern times. They just make it familiar to modern times, but it's
that works
own
too.
Universe that has its own functions, its own rules, and is not trying to make superheroes live in our world, because that's not how superheroes work.
That's kind of the beauty of DC having Marvel was always more grounded in the sense that everything happened in New York or was based in New York or real places for the most part. Yes, there was made up places like Wakanda, and I know, holy shit, Wakanda's not real. Yes,
Latveria, yeah.
Latveria was my next example. But what you do have in DC though is everything's made up pretty much. Sure, it kind of happens in a world that's like ours, like you said, Script, but Metropolis is not New York. It's a place like New York. Gotham is not Chicago. It's a place kind of like Chicago, and Star City and whatnot. You got all these different places that are like other cities, but they're not exactly, but they're their own world. And I don't have a problem with that. I think you're right. There's that element of comic book movies that has been missing a little bit as of late. I mean, sure, you can add some cosmic shit in there like they have with Marvel, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pulpy, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just the fantasy element of them that isn't so much sci-fi based as it is fantasy to a point. But I don't know. I agree with that. What Script said anyway. Camelbot Killer says side stories of these characters have slow battles or threat of villains over time, where Darkseid trying to take over Earth, and heroes battle that. I'm not so sure we're going to see a lot of big stuff until down the road. It sounds like that's like those comments made by Gunn make me feel that. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Can't have the thing from outer space coming in to destroy the world. No, he's right there. The other part too, Darkseid doesn't care about Earth. He cares about the anti-life equation. If conquering Earth gets him that, then he's fine. If he doesn't have to conquer Earth to get it, he'll do that too. It's all about the anti-life equation with him.
I don't think we'll see a big baddie for a little while yet.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
With that, let's quickly go around the bend because Nick's got to get ready for a stream, and I got to get ready for that same stream. So let's start with Nick. Nick, plug the Waterworld show on your way out, which will be linked to this stream, so you guys don't have to worry about it. As soon as we're done here, it'll send you right over there or whatever. Nick.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Tom. Great panel, great show. Chad, thank you for being here. Wrenches, thank you guys. And Toxic Tuesdays in less than 20 minutes. We're talking Waterworld. We got a whole lot to say about the movie, and it's going to be a very interesting conversation on a movie that not all of us are going to agree on, but that's what makes for good non-echo chamber discussion. So please come hang out with us. And of course, me and Klobby will also be on Comic Shop Talk with Infinity Gauntlet issue number 5. Once again, thanks for having me, guys, and I'll see you all in less than 20 minutes. Thank you.
Awesome sauce. Clobbering times, what you got coming on?
I'll be all over the place tomorrow at 5. I think 6 Eastern on Raymond Feliciano's King Dolphin TV talking comics. Loki's Roundtable after that at 7 Central with another great friend Loki's channel for the Comic Book Roundtable, and then tomorrow night my Wild Card Wednesday night show at 9 Central, and then the club, of course, the Clubhouse 9 p.m. Central on Thursday night with the wonderful Raquel Briggs and my good buddy Mark D with the season. You guys are going to really torture tonight.
Oh Lord, yeah, he was not happy when this movie was picked. Script Doctor, what you got coming up?
Not sure yet. I dropped my coverage of all 10 things that James Gunn announced on my Patreon. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and go check that out. Don't know what I'll be doing tomorrow morning. I do have a big Writer's Day thing going on tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be able to attend the morning show on Midnight's Edge. But otherwise, just follow me on Twitter, see where I'll be at, and we'll go from there.
All right. 6, anything coming up you need to plug it all?
Loki's Mornings of Mischief, Friday night. I can't remember what time, 10 or 11 Eastern, but I'll be on there.
10 Central.
It's usually 10 Central. Yep.
Okay, 10 Central.
Mikey, you know what? I'm going to let you go last. 70s, anything else you got coming up?
Just working on a few videos, but if anybody wants to hear Tom and I and a bunch of other great panelists talk about canon ninja movies, they can go back and check out yesterday's stream where we covered those. That was a lot of fun. And thank you, Tom.
I do think we need to title that the Canon Movie Club.
I took that. Yeah, I think the next one will be titled Canon Movie Club. And
I wonder if we should move it to a different time to where it's its own thing too. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, you and I can talk about that. But yeah, thanks for your helping me out with that one, mate. It was a great show, fun show.
Absolutely, and I think the next one will be either like Chuck Norris or Charles Bronson.
I think we're going to do Charles Bronson next.
Yeah, I was going to say I think that's the case, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, and last but definitely not least, our Mikey is home. We're so happy to have you home, Mikey.
Oh my God, I love that picture. That is so cute. It's my rabbit chickens. I got my suitcase. I got
lots of suitcases.
Oh, Mikey, you do know that this is in China. This is the year of the rabbit. So
no, this is the year of the rabbit chicken.
That's what I was going to say.
Tom, I'm going to send you a picture of my house. And aside from the front entryway, it actually looks damn near almost exactly like that.
Now I know.
So I want to thank Tom Connors for my awesome gift. Thank everybody for showing up for the show. Although I am not a YouTuber, I will be co-hosting tomorrow on Midnight Edge in the morning.
That is correct.
With the great Tom Connors Jr. because Andre will be out tomorrow.
Yes, the Andre will be away, so we will play. No. We have a lot of the same stuff we talked about today to talk about, and Lord knows we may find more. In the meantime, 6 has been digging up all kinds of quotes and stuff, so I'm sure by tomorrow morning she'll be well-versed in a lot of this stuff.
I ain't doing homework for somebody else's channel.
You've already done it. You've already done most of it. That's the sad part.
But I do have some more good news for you, Tom.
What's that?
What's the new M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong?
Knocked Up?
What?
What?
What's the name of his movie?
I don't know.
Some sort of
Knock
cabin
3
film.
times.
Knock on the Cabin.
Knock on the Cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That movie is on track to finally beat Avatar for
Really,
next
I'm
weekend.
kind of surprised. I think Megan could have done it had it had the screens to do it with.
Oh,
But
here
that's
we
just
go.
me. That's just me. I still say. But anyhow, there's one more piece of good news out there in the world. I guess it depends on your point of view. Yes, that is Will Smith on your screen. He's not going to slap anybody, so don't worry. Real quick, this is the big news he let out today.
Yo, I got an announcement. Y'all better stop scrolling, seriously. Oh, I'm hype. I'm hype. I hit myself in the eye with my camera.
Starting route.
You deserved it.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna give y'all a hint. I'm gonna give y'all a hint.
Camera slapped him.
Oh, that's my John. I wish I was you, not knowing what I'm about to show me. Oh, check it out. I'm pulling in. We here. Hold up. Here we go. Hold up. It's about that time. Money Hold up, bring that love in there. What up, man? Hey, it's about that time.
It's about that time.
It's
y'all.
official, y'all.
Y'all know what it is, right?
It's official.
Let's
Bad
do it.
boys
For
for life, baby.
That's
for
right.
life.
Well, we did 4.
We did.
But it's still Bad Boys
But
for
it's
life.
for life. But the third one, the third one was called Bad Boys for. We shouldn't have
life.
called.
What
we
was
shouldn't.
life?
We shouldn't have called it that. though.
See, I
It's
told
like-
you that.
It's
Will.
like the three was the E.
Good for
The
Mark.
E
Three
was
was
the
the
E.
E.
The 3 was the. But this is Bad Boys 4. It's official.
That's right, y'all.
Yeah, so depending on how you feel, Bad Boys 4 is officially back on. Summer of BLM did not kill it, kids. It is back on, and nor did the
Oh
slide.
yeah, look at all those consequences Will Smith got for smacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
I'm pretty
right?
sure filming yourself with a camera like that whilst driving is illegal.
Probably. I'm willing to bet he had a fucking.
I know.
Somebody else.
So what is that? 5? Bad Boys 4, 5.
5 of them? 4, 5.
But it's the fourth
life.
one.
I know.
I did like the third one. So I know
Yeah,
for those who like the third one, there you go. That was just something to end the show on. That's all I had. Otherwise, it was something that got buried in the mix. So thanks a lot, kids. I will be over on Toxic Tuesday here in just a few minutes. So hopefully I see
Night,
most of y'all
everybody.
See you there.
Take
man.
care,
later.
everybody. Anything else anybody had to add or we didn't bring up yet that we needed to? No?
No.
Yes? Maybe?
Bathroom.
So.
Gotta go.
Bathroom, gotta go.
As a reminder, I've been here when it was Glory Hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. And so, having said that,